Three, two, one.
Rise from your grave.
Hello, welcome to the Electronic Eggstra podcast. This time we're talking about the Sega Mega Drive. And joining me to talk about the Sega Mega Drive is it's my name twin, Chris Smith.
I say welcome back, but I think I'm just welcoming me back. Hi, everyone. It's been a while.
It has. And my Scouse brother, Jake Smith.
Yeah, brother from a different mother. Yes, nice to see you all again. I say see, we're all on voice, etc., etc. Yeah, great to be back talking about my absolute favourite console. So I'm busting to get started on this.
And also joining us from Germany again is Thomas Nickel.
Hey, hello. I'm also a big Mega Drive fan, and I can't wait to talk about my also favorite console ever.
Yeah, Thomas was the first person I thought of when we were talking about doing the Mega Drive episode. I'm like, God, I know this guy who's just as mad as I am.
Thanks a lot for that again. I'm really looking forward to that today.
No, when Thomas and I get together, they're usually at like trade events or whatever, we mostly talk about Mega Drive stuff. Have you seen this game? Have you seen what's coming out? Have you seen the screen of this? Yeah. Yeah, it's good fun.
No, it's really cool. Okay, so the Mega Drive then launched in Japan originally on October the 29th in 1988. Now, 1988 sounds like such a long time ago, and I can't quite believe that it came out in 1988. Like, even being there at the time and seeing it in Mean Machines and CVG back then, it still doesn't feel like it's an 80s console at all. Like, just doesn't. Because it's so 90s for me. You know, when I think of the 90s, I do think of things like the Mega Drive.
Yeah.
I don't think of the 80s and think Sega Mega Drive.
Yeah, I mean, it did come to Europe in the 90s, so it makes sense,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, so in America it was in August 1989, and in Europe and Brazil in 1990. So in September 1990. So, yeah, we had to wait nearly 2 years. But I think it was probably worth it because by the time we got it, there were a lot more games for it. Although we did have PAL squished versions. But to be fair to Sega, they did optimize their games a hell of a lot better than Nintendo did. For the PAL market.
Huh.
Yeah, I
Some
thought
of them,
like,
at least.
Some of them. Definitely the Sonic games were much better than, say, playing Mario, because you could tell Mario was a lot slower when you played the
Well,
PAL
but
version.
Sonic 1 was also very slow.
Sonic 1, yeah, I'll give you Sonic 1.
I mean,
yeah.
I suppose it sort of depended on context. Like, if you went to PAL Sonic 1 from everything else that was PAL available at the time, it was still
That's
shit.
true, of course, too, yeah.
True. Yeah.
And of course, one thing we could also already mention is it was very easy to mod a Mega Drive PAL to 60 Hz.
Yes, it was, yeah. I do remember.
So get a little switch in there, and all of a sudden you got all the oriental speed and everything. It's wonderful.
I did do that myself with my most recent one, but I've got to be honest, I didn't do it when I was 8.
No, I didn't.
Me and my mate Rob did. We were like, I don't know, 16, 15, and we'd be doing
You're 25,
design
Jake. We know what
technology.
you are.
No, well, yeah, no. I wish that was true. But yeah, we did it after seeing a screenshot. A screenshot. No, that's what they weren't back then. It was a picture in a magazine. And we're like, oh, so you just cut these two wires. And so we took Rob's Mega Drive apart and cut these two traces and wired a switch on the back. And fuck me, it worked. We were quite relieved because obviously they weren't cheap on import back then before the PAL release. So we were very relieved that we got that to work.
Yeah, I remember because the first time I knew that there was a different version in America called the Genesis, my dad bought the Castle of Illusion game, Mickey Mouse, and he bought the Genesis version, and it said Genesis on it. And I thought that was very strange at the time. I didn't know that there was a difference. I was just like, what the hell is a Sega Genesis? But yeah. And then I did read in Mega magazine about the Genesis a bit more. So I was like, oh, they've just given it a really crap name. I see.
So when I got started with it, I had a ZX Spectrum and an Amstrad 464, and we're in school, and some of the lads were talking about getting an Amiga, and I'm like, probably can't get an Amiga. I'm the eldest of 4 kids, so the money really wasn't there to buy one. Just lowered my sights a bit for an ST, thinking could be plausible. But we were reading magazines like CMVG, and the coverage of the consoles and imports and things. And me and my mate started to lust after the PC Engine. After seeing the PC Engine and Packet of Skip's size comparison photo, which is like legendary in British video gaming history. Until we went to a gaming event in the old Manchester GMX, and we saw the PC Engine, and we kind of like, whoa! And then we looked to the right, and there was a Mega Drive running Ghouls and Ghosts. And we're like, oh! So that was it. There was a Mega Drive on the Christmas list right after that. So I got mine, a Japanese imported model for PAL output with 50 Hz from a place called Bits and Bytes in St John's Market in Liverpool in I'd say about August 1990, I think, just before the PAL release. And there was a choice. You could get a choice for packing game. You could get Super Real Basketball or Thunder Force 3.
Oh,
As
Oh
nice
man,
as the
that's hard.
floor on
That's a
Super
hard
Real
choice.
Basketball looked, it was like, yeah, let's go for Thunder Force 3. So I got that, and I got Golden Axe with mine as well. And my mate Rob got Thunder Force 3, and he got Strider. So obviously we were trading games. Like, I'll borrow Strider for the weekend, and he borrowed Golden Axe. And there was in the next like 3 months or so, there was about 6 or 7 of our friendship group who got Mega Drives. So we were never short of like trading a game for a week to borrow off someone and just have fun with it all.
Yeah. What about you, Thomas? How was it in Germany when the Mega Drive came out?
I mean, it came same time as in UK, of course. And first thing I remember is the TV spots coming on, and at the time I wasn't that much into games at all. Well, not yet. I jumped on board I think in late 90s. It must have been late 90. Maybe even no. I think it was 91 when they switched to Sonic as a plug-in because like most kids, I started out with the Game Boy because that is the most affordable one and the one that you are most likely to get. And of course, when you have a Game Boy, you want to at some point graduate to a bigger system. And pretty much everybody did the normal step from Game Boy to the NES. However, I thought, you still want the NES because all the magazines I was sort of checking at the time were about the Mega Drive. And you know what? I'll take the jump. I just go for the Mega Drive for Christmas. I got it for Christmas, and I mean, I tell you, switching from knowing the Game Boy and the NES to seeing Sonic 1 for the first time on your TV, that was breathtaking.
Oh yeah, can imagine.
Yeah. And I mean, otherwise, the Mega Drive I think it was fairly popular over here as well. Because, of course, it was earlier than the Super Nintendo. It looked great. And I mostly got my games then from various import stores very early because of the price differences.
Yeah, they were like
cool.
30 quid in the UK, and it was 40, touching 40 for like the PAL versions. So it was cheaper to get the importing at the time.
Which is
Yeah, I
crazy
always-
thinking about it today.
They were cheaper than SNES games though, Mega Drive games. I do remember that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
In the UK, I do remember having to pay like £60 to £70 sometimes for SNES games, but I never paid over 40 for a Mega Drive game. Oh no, I did once. Phantasy Star 4. Paid £60.
Yeah.
Phantasy Star 4.
Virtua Racing would have pushed that up as well.
Yeah, I didn't get it on that. I got that on 32X. I had to
We can cover that another time.
Yeah. What about you, Chris?
So this is my usual origin story bit where I have to try phrase things properly so I don't accidentally slut shame all my sisters. Yeah. So as well, before that I'd had the Master System. That was my first console. We had a lot of home computers before that, like the Amstrads and Commodores and Spectrums, that were all family ones. As I've said before, I'm one of 5 with 4 older sisters. And but the Master System was the first console that was mine. I think it was for a birthday. And then I remember it was the same ex-boyfriend of a sister that introduced me to the PlayStation was also responsible for the Mega Drive, bringing around one. I think he only bought it with Sonic. I don't remember him having any other games we played, but I remember just the jump from the Master System to that felt huge. But it was still quite a while from then to me getting one, I think, because then I was desperate to play the Sonics on the Master System, and as much as they are really good games, they're a bit disappointing when you've played the Mega Drive version. And then I think it was, I wasn't sure what year it was the Mega Drive 2 came to the UK, because it was the year that
92,
came.
wasn't it?
Yeah, so that it would have been Christmas '92, I think, when I got mine. With because I think it's a story I might have told on Maximum Power Up, where the innocence of being an idiot child. My sister phoned me up from a payphone somewhere in the house to ask, if hypothetically, if I was going to have a Mega Drive, but it can only have one cartridge with it, would I want Sonic or a cartridge that had got 3 games on it? And me going, oh, definitely Sonic. And then my sister being like, he's an idiot, he wants 3 games. So, but me still completely not getting that thing, was still shocked Christmas morning that there was a Mega Drive. It was still a surprise. But with the pack in of Mega Games 2, which turned out to be probably the right move. So let's see, Streets of Rage, Golden Axe, and Revenge of Shinobi.
Yeah,
Oh,
I remember that
tremendous.
cartridge.
Yeah, and so many hours with that cartridge. And I mean, it wasn't, I think I'd almost immediately borrowed Sonic off my sister's boyfriend, so it wasn't really a problem. But yeah, that was sort of my route in. And whilst my favourite system remains the Saturn, I think I have a nice line of lineage that goes through that, of the Mega Drive's comfortably, I think, as a second place. I think it's second only to the Saturn for pure nostalgia and the games that hold up now, stuff I still
Yeah.
want to play on.
No, that's cool. So I was the fortunate child of a broken home in 1990. My mother and my father broke up in August 1990, and to sweeten the deal of us meeting his new girlfriend just before Christmas in 1990, as we only ever met him like outside. He took us out places. We didn't ever go back to his place until just before Christmas. And sort of to make the deal a bit sweeter, when we got there was a Mega Drive with it was the Altered Beast pack-in one. Do you remember that
Sorry
one?
about
Yeah. So we Altered Beast. Yeah, at the time, yeah, as a kid, it was great.
I mean, that, to be fair, yeah, everybody enjoyed the first run through of first seeing all the transformations, right?
Yeah. So we got that. So there was that. There was Ghouls and Ghosts, Golden Axe, and Super Hang On were all there.
Nice.
Waiting, when we got to my dad's. But there was also Arnold Palmer Tournament Golf as well. But I did not gravitate towards that one at that
Sounds
point.
like a very dad game, that, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's why my dad. So my dad liked the games, right? So we like growing up. I had a Spectrum, BBC Micro, because my dad liked playing games. I got a NES because my dad was like okay with me buying a console, because so he could play it as well. But yeah, so him leaving was actually quite great, because I had like a second home with a different console at that home. So
It's a proper monkey's
yeah,
paw thing you had going on, Chris.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, you could have had your parents staying together, but then you'd have only had a SNES, and nobody deserves that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we
And
skip
I would have
on,
chosen that as well.
I'm hoping he'll turn up any moment. I've got a mate who I said should jump on and talk to us about your experience with the Mega Drive. I think you'll all know him.
Hey, what the heck's
Hey
going
there.
on here? I heard you all talking about
Did
Oh God, it's that guy.
Did you hear us talking about the Mega Drive, John?
I could feel it. I sensed something was happening, so I thought I'd stop by very
Summoned
briefly.
him up. Yeah, I hope you don't mind, Chris. I've dragged John in to talk about his favorite console too.
That's okay. We've had a new player into our multi-tap. Oh, it's Mega Man. Sorry. Yeah. Hi, John. Hi. How are you?
Hi, how's it going? Yes, it's John from Digital Foundry, I guess. I could say that. Yes.
Yeah.
Jake told me to come in here with the steel chair, so
Yeah, I've already
I'm here.
bad mouthed the name Genesis. So if you want to smash me with a steel chair for
Well,
just
that's all right.
mentioning the name.
Bad mouth it all day. It's
Bit of
all
wrestle
good.
war going on. Yeah. We were just talking about our like first experience of how we like got hold of a Mega Drive / Genesis and our first experience in the games we had on it. So do you want to give us a little rundown of how you got onto it?
Oh man, it's always hard to remember exactly, but I think it was actually at my friend Chris's house way back in the day. Another Chris.
Oh god, that's 3 of them.
Another Chris. Yeah. It's good, but this is American Chris back in
Okay.
Cincinnati, Ohio, who just had about everything. And I remember just playing some Genesis. Yes, it was the Genesis at his house, and just being like, "Oh shit, I need this." this was so good. It was on a small
Well-
TV, but like just compared to like everything else at the time, I think I probably first saw must have been Altered Beast or something. I could barely remember at this point. I know I have early memories of that, Streets of Rage, of course, when it hit Sonic, things like that. It's kind of muddled, but yeah, it was all that kind of era. Just playing the original Model 1, of course, with the big with that red sort of highlight along the front there. It was a beautiful looking machine. I loved it from the beginning. Man, but yeah, I was very envious of him because it took a while to get my own.
Yeah, absolute formulative years kind of stuff, isn't it? You know, the image of
Yeah,
that big MD1 is burned into my memory forever.
actually, now I remember what we played a lot of was Toe Jam and Earl,
Yes.
which I remember thinking was
My
pretty
first ever
rad. And
roguelike.
yeah, I didn't know what a roguelike was, right?
I mean,
like it's just
pretty
like,
much
well, here's
nobody
this
did, right?
this
No.
random
Yeah.
adventure overhead game with cool music, and we're just like walking around, and it's just like this is cool as heck.
Yeah,
But
That's
you know,
a
just like
game
hanging
that
out
you can-
playing it.
As soon as you mention that game, you just hear that music.
I just think of the elevator always, the funky '90s backgrounds going on,
Yeah.
Yeah,
the beat kicking in. It was
And also,
awesome.
of course, amazing burping samples as well.
yeah.
You have to have that. You have to have that.
Yes.
But
They
then,
knew
you
the
know,
target audience, didn't they?
that same guy then also exposed me to Sega CD for the first time. So he would
That
be
bastard.
the first and only person I knew that actually bought one of those, and it was the original Model 1 tray loading system. And I played Sonic CD on there, and he loaded up his save straight into the 3rd level, and I just remember hearing like the vocals and everything, and was like, holy heck. Like, by the time Sonic CD launched, CD had been around for a while, but like I had never seen it before. This was my first experience, like knowing what it could bring to the table. It felt like magic.
Yeah, I
So
had
yeah,
to beg my dad when the CD came out to get it because I was saying to the others the Mega Drive was at my dad's house, and I remember seeing when it was coming out and just saying to my dad, "Look, we need to get this because like this is going to make it last even longer as a system."
man.
Did it
and-
work?
Yeah, he got one. We got one.
Wow.
And a 32X.
I
It
did
was so
get
expensive
32.
too,
I had
though,
5
man.
32X myself. To be fair, I was like 16 at the time when that came out, so I had to get it. But no, the Mega CD as we had it. I managed to get my dad to get that with Sonic, and we got Road Avenger as well. And he got some golf game. I can't remember which one. Like he liked golf a lot, so he got a
Did
golf
he like
game
them,
in there.
or
I
was he
think it
just in
a
the shop
pinball.
and they were like, "Oh, you're going to need this. You're clearly a dad."
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I think he
Was it
also a
Link's the
pinball game.
Challenge of Golf, by the way? I
Yeah,
feel like that's
that
what it
sounds
was.
about right.
It was like the
Yeah.
Sega CD, Mega CD version of Link's.
Yes, that does sound about right. And there was a pinball game as well, but I can't remember which one that was because I didn't play either of these games at all. But yeah, I played a lot of Road Avenger and Sonic CD. Like, yeah, Sonic CD for me is just behind Mario World as my favorite 2D platformer. Like, just behind.
Wow.
I absolutely adore CD so much.
That's awesome. Heck yeah. Now, by the time I got into it, I had a Genesis 2 first, which was obviously the redesigned model. And I played a lot of Sonic. But also, you know, I got into it a little bit later in terms of my own system. So I was exposed more to like the Red Label games at the time. most of the Black Label stuff I played at my friend's house before actually having one. But then by that point, it was like, it was the Earthworm Jims, Aladdin's, that kind of stuff. A lot of the Western developed stuff, but also some of the later Konami stuff, like Contra the Hardcore, of course.
Wow. Yeah.
Castlevania, stuff like that. Which I
really like to call it Mega Probotector.
Right, exactly, Probotector. Yeah, I mean, it's just back then, like you didn't have anything to really, for me at least, being younger, I had magazines and that was it. That's basically what I had to rely on to know what was happening around this world, right?
Yeah, word of mouth between your friends, and someone had seen a magazine or they'd heard. So it was like Chinese whispers at sometimes. Oh, such and such is coming out, and it's going to be this. Where did you find that out?
Exactly.
How information traveled back then is just wow.
We enjoy. I mean, between us, most of our group, we loved both the Super NES and the Genesis. But I remember, for some reason, it sticks out of my head. Somebody used to. So this one kid I knew was like, "Oh man, the Genesis sucks because it takes too long to start the games." It's like, "What do you mean?" It's like, "Oh, just it shows those dumb logos." And I was always like, "What? Like, what did he mean by that?" But it was one of those weird things where you're just like, "Okay." But I mean, they did love to play around with the Sega logo.
Yeah,
which was a very
They
popular and
That's
enjoyable
how you
thing.
can tell the
I
home
enjoyed
computers
that.
weren't successful in the States, right?
Yeah.
There's like somebody playing a Mega Drive thinking, "Oh, this takes too long to load."
yeah. Press play on
Yeah.
it. Take, dude.
Try playing Championship Manager and that loading times.
Or
Goodness.
just anything on like a
Unfortunate.
Commodore 64 tape deck.
Oh god.
And then I
Spectrum.
might be the only one here, I'm not sure, that had actual experience with the Sega channel back in the day. Anybody else? I don't
No.
think, because that was
No.
only in the US, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I mean, that
I was so
again,
jealous of it though, because I remember hearing it. I read about it in Mega magazine, and I just remember being so jealous that we didn't have access to this.
of course,
like,
I didn't have
we-
this personally. This was again a friend group thing, but it was really neat to experience the time, and I was just like, I just remember the idea, like it really hadn't even crossed my mind that you could just like download a game from somewhere onto your Genesis, right? Like even on the PC side, like I was starting to get into PCs as well. Like just the thought of going online to download stuff was still so new. So this idea that you could kind of do that through the Genesis was
In
crazy.
England at that time, we called that witchcraft.
It might
Yeah,
happen still do.
that was the only way you got Mega Man Wily Wars, wasn't? Was it Wily Wars?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we were all big fans of Mega Man back then, of course. So that was
Who
definitely
wasn't,
something.
right?
What's that? Yeah,
Who
who wasn't
wasn't?
exactly? I mean, by that point, a lot of people weren't, right? They were like, "Oh, Mega Man." It's
Yeah,
all
they don't
used.
count.
But obviously, I was super into it at the time. And it was cool seeing that.
There was a great cover. I think it was on Mega. I can keep mentioning it because it was my favorite Mega Drive magazine. But I think there was a cover where they had Mega Man shaking hands with Sonic when they announced the Capcom games moving over. And I remember.
Oh,
that.
yeah.
God.
That's right.
Yeah.
When Capcom. So that's the thing about the system that there was Capcom games early on, but they were all developed by Sega, right?
Yeah.
Like the Striders, the Mercs, stuff like
Ghouls
that.
and Ghosts. Yeah.
Final Fight
Flame.
CD.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is like in retrospect, Sega probably did a better job than Capcom would have done.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's fair.
It's kind of funny how that turned out because Capcom's actual efforts in the system are okay, but they're not exceptional, I would say.
Yeah, I'd
not
agree with
not
that.
until later on with Rocket Knight Adventures.
That's Konami.
That's
Oh,
Konami.
Konami, yeah.
Konami did awesome on there, I would say,
Yeah.
but
Yes, they
overall, but Capcom less. I mean, they did the Mickey Mouse, the second Mickey Mouse game, which is okay on there. And then you had the Street
several
Fighter ports.
iterations of Street Fighter. Yeah, the first pictures we saw of the Street Fighter in the magazine in like Me Machine Sega or something, it looked pretty poor. And we've seen all the beta versions and the early versions that have come out over the years through
Right.
digital archiving, and I don't know what the licensing agreements were or anything, but it's a good job they did go back and have longer to work on it, because when it did come out, it rivaled the Super Nintendo version, and there were school ground fights about which one was the better version, and it was better with this pad, better than that pad. Yeah, so it's a good job it did go back to the drawing board or back in the kitchen and worked on for a while, because the Street Fighter that came out on the Mega Drive was great in the end.
Yeah,
Yeah, back then,
especially
I
do
mean,
remember.
sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
So I was going to say, yeah, I do remember like there was a proper fight at my school about Street Fighter 2. There was a kid who was like this. He was the only kid I knew with a Super Nintendo other than me, and one of my friends was talking about Street Fighter 2 on the Mega Drive, and he turned around and said, "Yours is shit because it's got smaller characters and you have crap pad." And this other kid got up, lumped him, and said, "Yeah, we've got the bosses," and then walked away after putting him on his ass.
Mic drop.
I was like, yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And then obviously Street Fighter 2 Turbo came along, and that friend never got up and defended himself with that comeback. But but yeah, it was crazy. Like how when Street Fighter 2 first came out, I do remember just how big it was when it came to Mega Drive, which is weird because the hype for the Super Nintendo version was really big, but I didn't feel it as much as the Mega Drive version in the UK. I'm talking about like the hype for that version was just unreal.
I mean,
big release in that
just
pad
because
for
the
it as
game
well.
was huge.
Yeah.
It was such a big deal. They made the pad for it, the 6-button pad.
Yeah.
That's not a small thing to go and do, is mass produce a whole sort of peripheral for it.
And
they
that
knew it was
layout
gonna
is
be
now
big.
the way to play those games, right?
Correct.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it became the whole like basis of the Sega Saturn pad, really.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So like that was awesome, and it was like basically custom made for Street Fighter.
Mhm.
It
I
was an
had to
awesome
buy that
pad.
pad with my own money. My dad said, "We have 2 pads. You don't need another." So
The pad at home. Yeah,
Yeah.
3 buttons. Feeling sad.
What I think what none of us knew at the time, or at least I certainly wasn't aware of it, was the whole PC Engine TurboGrafx version of Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Like everything was
I was
coming.
only aware of that
passed us all
through
by.
Meme Machines magazine. That was the only place I saw it.
Oh yes, of course, Mean Machines.
Mhm.
So yeah, the early days. I mean, for me, it was just I played a lot of Genesis. I have to say Genesis because that's what it was as a kid. I wasn't
yeah,
aware
go
of
for it,
Mega Drive, and I call it Mega Drive now because that's what I own more of, and I spent more time in Europe and owning Japanese copies of these games. But back then, we just knew it as the Genesis, and I have a lot of great memories. Especially, I mean, I'm still a huge fan of Sonic for a good reason, and I played it to death back then. I remember the biggest treat being able to play it on my cousin's. He had like a 40-inch or somewhere around there direct view Mitsubishi CRT, and when we stayed at their house one day, I'm playing Genesis on this thing, and I'm like, man, Sonic's as big as my head kind of feeling. And it was just like, it was cool. It was unbelievable. So between all of us, I think we kind of went back and forth between Super NES and Genesis, but when it came to quick pick up and play and a lot of co-op stuff, Genesis was where it was at. You just didn't have those types of things as often on Super NES, I feel. So certainly not at the speed that you got on the Genesis.
Yeah.
Games just felt faster.
Back then as well, the difference between a Nintendo product and a Sega product, there was a definite vibe of like Nintendo is more family friendly and Sega's got that arcade edge. Feels a bit more grown up, a little bit more edgy. And as I was growing up, I was like 16, 17 when I got my Mega Drive. So that's where I was heading. I was like, yeah, I'm playing these games in the arcade. I'm seeing Space Harrier, and then I can go home and play it on this console. So that really it was cool, much cooler, I think, than the Nintendo. And just that couple of years age difference in some of the schools and the kids who got consoles probably accounted for like the early uptake of the Mega Drive, and then the SNES platform coming up the rear, as it were, back then. A lot of younger kids getting the console for Christmas or whatever. And I say younger, it's like 1 or 2 years difference, but it's like, when you cut through a tree and there's the lines of the bark, that's sort of like the ownership uptake in the UK of those 2 consoles.
I mean, it's quite funny how much you had. Obviously, this Sonic stuff from Sega America was quite, is well documented in terms of how they aimed for that edgy stuff and wanting to be cool.
Oh yeah.
And then Sega completely leaned into it with things like with Mortal Kombat, we got the version with the blood, that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
fascinating if you go
Surprising over
back
here
to when we did the
with-
PlayStation episode about
Yeah.
how we saw that done again, and Sony literally copying the homework and doing it better. It was like, we're going to make this cool for adults.
Man, the Mortal Kombat situation, that was especially huge in the US. And back then everybody was beyond the blood. It was like the Mega Drive version plays better. Sorry, Genesis version plays better.
You
And
can
it
say
turns-
Genesis. We're all Phil Collins fans here.
It turns
That is
out
true.
it actually does, because as I discovered when doing a big retrospective on it, most versions on the Nintendo side have serious input latency. I didn't know what that was about back then, but it feels very, very laggy compared to the Genesis version. So not only did it not have blood on Super NES, it just felt mushy, right?
So I can
The only-
confirm, as I had Mortal Kombat 2 on both,
Right.
and whenever I would play it on the Super Nintendo at home, I did feel that it took longer for anything to happen after you press a button. Not massive, but you could definitely tell there was lag. But then when I
Weird-
played it on the Mega Drive, I could feel nothing. It was just, yeah.
It's super responsive. And here's the
Yeah.
weird thing is, like, I discovered later the Super Famicom version of Mortal Kombat actually fixes that. But it's the
Oh.
only version where it's fixed. Every other Nintendo version of that is extremely laggy. So, and that's what most people would have played. So yeah, back then Mortal Kombat definitely won out. And then the Sega CD version turned out to be probably the best of those original releases. Despite the loading times, it's actually like an awesome version.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, because like my dad didn't get Mortal Kombat 2 on the Mega CD for me, so because we already had Mortal Kombat 2.
It was
on
always
Mega Drive.
that with the Sega CD was the Mega CD. Now I'm doing it. The it was always a hard sell getting the games that you already had on CD.
Yeah,
Like
sure.
doing it, but sometimes was the right move.
Earthworm
Still stand
Jim.
by Echo.
I remember buying Final Fight on the Super Nintendo. I was so excited to play Final Fight on the Super Nintendo, and then being like, "Where's my favorite character?" for the first thing, and then giving the second controller to my brother and going, "Right, let's go." It's like it's one player.
I got so much
What?
mileage out of saying Nintendo was for people that didn't have friends because of Final Fight and Double Dragon on the NES, or Single Dragon.
But
as it's
getting
known.
the Sega, the Mega CD version of Final Fight though, and being like, "Oh, Guy's back, and I can actually play 2-player.
Yeah,
This is
definitive
amazing."
version, amazing.
Yeah, it's a great version.
Until the
I love that
GBA
version.
potentially.
Hey, now we have
but
that
this-
new homebrew version, right?
Yeah, that
which-
looks incredible.
That does
Which
look great.
Plays incredible.
it's great, and you can even like crank up the number of enemies in there.
What
Yeah,
was
Really, really
the?
good.
This is for you, Thomas, first.
Mhm.
But in the UK, we had this. The advertising to begin with was like the Sega Cyber Razor Cut adverts, which were like this
Mhm.
really cool looking guy who was in Soldier TV series, who would like go and he was going to go and get. He looks like he was going to get a tattoo, but instead he's getting like hooked up to a Mega Drive and he's like, "Give me the Cyber Razor Cut," and it's like a really sort of teenage sort of power fantasy advert. What was the advertising like in Germany?
Oh, yeah,
Oh, we had the same one actually.
Did you? You had that as well?
Yep, we had that same spot on
Ah.
TV. I still remember that vividly. I
Oh,
mean,
I
of
was
course,
hoping
they
there'd
had
be some- Yeah.
they had, of course, some of their own slogans and stuff like that. So I don't know if you had it in the UK. One of those was in English, "Where is my Sega?" Ever heard of that?
We had plug me into it. Would do me a favor, plug me into a Sega.
Okay, we didn't have that
Yeah.
yet. That's probably too exotic.
what was-
But yeah, I think the
What
biggest
was the
one
other
was that
one? To be this good takes ages. Was the other one, and then
was
the
quite a bit
ages
later,
switches
wasn't
around
it?
to become Sega. Yeah, that was a bit later. Yeah.
Yeah, in
But
the
at the
US,
beginning,
of
it
course,
was
all welcome to the next
do me a
level.
favor, plug me into a
Mhm.
Sega was the first slogan that we had.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
Yeah, wasn't that end of Master System, beginning of Mega Drive
It
crossover
was, yeah.
period? Though?
Yeah, it was the crossover period, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you had it was whenever there was an advert for anything on Sega at that time, it would always end with, "Do me a favor, plug me into a Sega."
Interesting. And I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, as you guys know, the American commercials were just as crazy as it sounds. It was always about being cool and just like throwing stuff at the screen as fast as possible. Blast processing,
Yeah.
welcome to the next level. Famously the commercial with the kid in the classroom who's like requesting the chocolate chip cookies. After getting Sega, now he's cool and ordering the quote unquote bullies around, stuff like that. It was always just like about embarrassing someone and just being kind of like a jerk.
Mm,
Like if you
yeah.
get Sega, you could become a jerk kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's the feeling you get. Or like, I mean, even with like, I remember the Game Gear hitting, they had the whole like spinach green like thing where they're like, the only people that don't mind color or whatever, like dogs or something.
Yeah.
And they show the guy at the
I
Game
can
Boy
recall
like hit
that. Yeah.
himself in the head so he can
That's that
see
guy
colors.
from Varsity Blues, isn't it? And my
Yeah,
name's
yeah,
Earl.
yeah.
Yeah. I remember that advert.
Amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, Sega really went for the throat, didn't they, in America?
Oh God, there was did you ever see the one with the Santa's elves?
No.
Where there's
I don't
like
think I did.
they got two small actors, shall we say, that could play Santa's elves, and they basically talking about Sonic and Knuckles and how they tried to pitch it to Santa and he told them no, so they left and pitched it to Sega and made millions. And it just shows a couple of these guys sitting at the pool just like talking about it.
That's
That's
so
really-
American.
Yeah, it really is. But that's the thing is when you look at all the different regions, like the commercials were so different between them. And it's fun to kind of look back at how the marketing differed so heavily. You don't really see that much these days, right? Like marketing can vary a bit per region, but it's largely kind of focused in the same general direction. But here, like they completely went nuts with every
Yeah.
region has its own sort of ads that fit that. And it's just, you look at like the Japanese ads, for instance, and they're far more just like, I guess, just like straight faced, right? Like, hey, this is this cool thing, be excited, Sega. And
Because
then the US,
Nintendo's advertising over here was not great until sort of, I think it would have been 94 when they started doing a campaign with Rick Mail.
did they have Play It Loud in the UK?
No, we got Rick Mail instead.
Okay, that sounds better actually.
Yeah, so he did lots of funny skit adverts for Nintendo games. And I think the first one he did was Link's Awakening, wasn't it? The Game Boy one, which was really cool. But that was the only time Nintendo did any good advertising in the UK.
Wow.
Everything else was just generic advertising, which was clearly led from Japan. It was we didn't really get any personality at all from Nintendo until those Rick Mail adverts came along.
So all of you guys that grew up over here then, like, did you really feel that Nintendo just never had the same grasp as in, like, say in North America, Nintendo conquered all. That's where you played games with the NES, right? And then so like, computers that just wasn't a thing in the same way, right? But in obviously the UK, the Amiga, C64, all of that stuff, the micros were huge. Even the Master System seemed to have more representation here.
Yeah,
Like,
the Master System was big here.
did you just feel like Nintendo was a known thing, but not like the big thing, right?
Yeah, it was a known quantity over here, but it wasn't like it wasn't like you played video games and you associated it with Nintendo. It
Right.
was just another video game. Whereas obviously in America, Nintendo was video games at that point.
Yeah,
it was
called
the word for it,
Play
the household
Nintendo.
name for it.
Exactly.
I think I knew 3 people that had NESs or Super Nintendos for like my first couple of schools, and nearly everybody had either a Master System or a Mega Drive.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
had one
same.
friend called Jeffrey when I was 7, I want to say, so it was in 1986, and he had a American NES because he was American, and he'd moved over because his dad was in the Air Force, so it was over here. And I do remember playing a NES in 1986 and thinking, "Oh, this is quite cool." So when we finally got one when the UK finally got the NES in 1987, I knew what it was. So I was like, "Oh, I really like Super Mario Brothers. I really want to get this." But that was going from Spectrum at that point to
Oh, yeah.
NES. So And that's why I went with that rather than a Master System, because all my friends had Master Systems, but I just had this memory of playing Super Mario Brothers like a year or so earlier and just thinking, wow, that was really, really good.
It was
I wanna
funny,
play that
despite
again.
Sega's dominance on that side, everyone I knew had a Game Boy, and I knew one person with a Game Gear.
Yeah, same. I had the
Yeah.
Mega Drive first, then I got the Game Boy after it, and that was my exposure to Nintendo was through the Game Boy, not through an NES.
Yeah.
So another thing I want to ask about while we're on this,
If I
so
if
basically,
I make
so
it quickly, sorry.
sorry, I was going to cut to you, Thomas, but anyway,
Yeah.
go ahead.
To just butt in quickly, in Germany it was quite a bit different. Nintendo was quite a presence over here already, and I think they were at least in the beginning bigger than Sega, because they really took the marketing over here seriously as soon as they established Nintendo of Europe and Nintendo of Germany.
Yeah, because
And
they're based out of Germany still, aren't they? The European
Yep.
arm of Nintendo.
They used to be basically from where I live, maybe something like by car 10 minutes away, very close.
Oh, cool.
And I had a big building and everything, and yep, they were rather big, and you felt more like the underdog if you had a Mega Drive in the day.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was the opposite for me with having Mega Drive at my dad's, because I didn't have it or access to it all the time. So I had a Super Nintendo at my mum's, where I was there most. So I did feel like the odd one out at school, because people would be talking about playing games on their Mega Drive. And I would be there going, oh, God, I've just been playing Super Nintendo. I can't talk to these people about that. They'll hate me. So yeah, I didn't. But yeah, that was the weird thing. I always felt like the leper when it was talking about Super Nintendo. But yeah, once I've been at my dad's for the weekend, I come back and I'll be like, oh my God, guys, I was just playing Kid Chameleon. And they were like, why? I was like, it's quite good.
Ouch. So I was curious about the PAL stuff. So you guys played in 60 hertz PAL, but Thomas, I know that you were already into importing at a pretty early point, and we're also very much aware of things like RGB, 60 hertz mods, and the like, right?
Yeah, that was about at my Mega Drive half point, I think. I think I found out about that stuff in 1992, 93, I guess. Because I wanted to play some games I couldn't play otherwise. So, for example, Shining Force came out, and at this point, games started having protections against importing. So what I did is I set my Mega Drive into a specialized store of a guy we know pretty well right now, John. Klaus Wolf had a store called Wolfsoft, and what they did, they modded consoles. I had it modded at first to play imports, but of course with that also came 60 hertz switch. And as soon as I flipped that switch, first of all, graphics were black and white, but also they work faster. So a bit of my research, and I found out, right, you need an RGB card to get color out of this. So I saved up again for a bit, got that RGB card, and oh my God, it looked so good. And all of a sudden, I could play pretty much all of my games in 60 hertz the way it was intended. Apart from some that had some PAL modifications, but that was, well, one too many, actually.
No, Thunder Force 4 was one of those that wouldn't
Yeah,
allow
exactly.
you to play.
Yeah.
Oh man,
John-
that's so
John,
cool. So
I
what
got-
about you guys?
And of course,
got mine
also,
as
sorry.
Japanese. Sorry, go on, Thomas. Finish off.
Yeah, I just want to say, as I already mentioned, imports were a big thing back in the day, because most games were simply cheaper with certain stores. So I think already the third game I ever had, so I got my Mega Drive with Sonic, I got Castle of Illusion, and then as a third game, I wanted to play a game, and I went for Monster Lair.
Oh, nice.
And
Monster Lair is so good.
And I think I paid normally, so a Mega Drive game cost back then 120 D-Mark. That would be maybe something like 60 euros today. I don't know. Monster Lair was, I think, 40 or so a lot cheaper. So yeah, I pretty much in the first years I had probably 50-50 German games and Japanese games, and very rarely a Genesis game like Wonder by Monster World, but mostly those two. And of course, if you have many Japanese and American games at some point, it makes even more sense to switch up to 60 hertz.
Yeah. Because I just went with the Super Nintendo for imports, I just went for the cartridge adapter thing. So I wasn't getting, the proper experience, but I was getting to play the games. When I told my dad about modding the Mega Drive, he said, no, I'm not tampering with it. So we didn't do it. So I couldn't. I could only get the ones that were there were some imports that I got. Like I say, I got Castle of Illusion, and I think another couple of other Genesis games in the end, but that were compatible with the PAL version, with the PAL machine. But
Right.
they soon stopped that, didn't they? So
Yeah. John, I got mine as a Japanese import that had already been modded for 50
Oh,
hertz PAL. So
Incredible.
the mod was like an RF unit that was like a sticky back pad stuck to the heatsink, because there's a bit of a space just above the heatsink, so it was stuck in there with an RF aerial cable snaking out the back through the hole that was already in the back of the case. So the RGB port was still there but unused, and we start playing at 50 hertz PAL, and it's great, and you don't really know the difference. And then my mate John Hartley was like, "You can play this faster, you know. Come round to ours and I'll show you." So we went round to his with a handful of Mega Drive games, and we spent the evening playing through them. And he had a Sony telly with RGB input, and the games were 60 hertz, and that was it. I had to get a new telly straight away, so I got a little 12-inch portable Sony TV, and that the brightness and the sharpness of the 60 hertz SCART RGB graphics was just night and day from 50 hertz PAL on a fuzzy RF antenna cable to the sharpness. Oh god, it's so good.
the all important SCART. No, see
Yeah, yeah.
it's interesting. So I was aware of imports, but I didn't import anything back then, but I had no idea about the PAL stuff at all in the 90s.
Why
And I
would you
was
though? You know, if you're in the
exactly,
States,
No reason.
but we were limited to freaking composite video pretty much. I mean, I guess some TVs had S video. I only had composite video on ours, and obviously, I would learn much later what a difference RGB and even just S video would make. But at the time, it was just like, all right, composite video it is. It's like the yellow, red, and white cables, and
or
sometimes
just two of them instead of all three. Yeah.
exactly, or sometimes you plug it into a VCR, which is written to RF, so it's even worse. And that's just kind of how it was back then. I remember looking at the graphics up close and marveling at just like I don't know, like it didn't look like pixels at the time, right? Like it looked like something else because of what that video artifacts are. Versus today when you see it like a nice RGB set, it's so different. But yeah, that PAL experience. I remember my boss Richard Ledbetter said when he first started working for CV and G, like as soon as he experienced RGB SCART and 60 hertz, he was like, "Well, I can never play a PAL system again."
He was so right.
And he
I
never
had
did.
I had a Sony TV with SCART input within 6 months of getting my Japanese Mega Drive. It had to be done, you know. And after that, well, around that time, we modded our own Mega Drives. Like Thomas, you sent yours in to your friend. Me and my mate did it after we'd seen an article in one of the magazines, Mean Machines or something, and one photo, and we got our Stanley knife out and cut through the traces and soldered, really probably very, very badly. I'm sure, like our friend Aegon, who does a lot of my mods and fixes, he would he would laugh at the quality of our handiwork at the time. But it worked, and we were like, "Holy shit, that's lucky!" And so we could switch between the 50 hertz, 60 hertz, and everything. And then you didn't really think about what game you bought; it was a lot down to price. But I'd fallen in love with the Japanese covers and the art
Oh yeah.
style and the
Yeah, they
katakana and
are
stuff, and
beautiful.
so I would go that way. And I'm not really a big RPG gamer, so it's mostly arcade games, platform action adventures, not action adventure, action sort of arcade style games, shoot 'em up. So I would go straight for the Japanese version every time.
I remember when I saw the Sonic the Hedgehog covers for the first time, the Japanese ones, and just thinking about how bad the PAL ones looked in comparison
Yeah.
to the Japanese ones. They are incredible in Japan.
I will say though, and I don't know about you guys, but I have a fondness for the early Genesis like black box designs
Oh,
with
with
the
the grid.
grid.
Yeah, I love
like
that. Yeah.
those are
Mm.
very cool. And then at some point they switched to the red, which I don't mind, but it's a little bit less interesting
They switched to blue
visually.
over here.
Right. It's that same sort of like angled stripe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's blue in Europe. It was actually blue for Sega CD in the US, and then
Yeah.
red for Genesis, and 32X was yellow.
Yeah. We got like a bubble circle type of effect down the side of
Yeah.
the blue spine on ours.
Oh, it wasn't the stripes then. Okay. I have a
No,
couple
it's
of those
almost
and I
like
forget.
it's almost like it's going to be tactile. You can pick it up and see the bumps. I only know this because in great detail I did the cover work for Tanglewood for Matt Phillips, so I was
Oh,
closely
shout
looking at
out
all
to
the
Matt.
box art and everything. Yeah. We'll come to that later. We're going to cover some of the like aftermarket stuff too. But yeah, it's weird because you look at the differences. You're like, why do they do this? Why don't they all just get together and do the same colors? But as you say, you grew up in America not knowing anything about 50 hertz PAL and stuff, and we didn't really know too much when we started playing about the import stuff. But the Mega Drive had quite a good shelf life in the UK. You know, by 95, 96, it's still releasing games. So as you got older, you would realize what the differences were as you see more magazine coverage.
By the way, I want to quickly get back to the Sonic cover thingy. What's interesting is our cover is actually closer to the Japanese one than the American cover. I just shared some pictures as well. We have the original Sonic on our cover.
Yeah,
Just a
I
different
like him.
background.
Yeah,
Oh,
that background
right.
is quite cool as well with Robotnik and the animals on there, which I remember being quite cool. I think I'm thinking of Sonic 2 when I think of Sonic.
Yeah,
I
that
would
was the
actually
same.
say the
Yeah.
Master System version of Sonic 1, the PAL cover, I think looks better than the Genesis / Mega Drive one.
I got my Sonic on release day in the UK from Microbyte. It wasn't Bits and Bytes I said earlier when I got my Mega Drive from. It was a place called Microbyte. So I got my Sonic on day one, and it had the English cover, but it had an American manual and an American cartridge. So they
Okay,
must not have
that's
been able to fulfill everything. But I got it day
wild.
one as like the DHL guy dropped it off to
Oh,
Microbyte.
wow.
I was like, oh, that kind of wish I kept it. But I mean, who's going to know? Because you could have just swapped them at any point. But yeah, it was an odd mix.
See, because I had because in the UK, John, we got Super Mario Brothers 3 quite late, like in
Right.
'91. So, and we then
Wow.
got Sonic in 1991 as well on the Mega Drive. So I remember getting Super Mario Brothers 3, really enjoying it until I got to my dad's and he had already bought Sonic the Hedgehog. And just seeing that first screen on Green
Oh,
Hill
yeah.
Zone and just being like, oh my, I never want to play my Nintendo ever again now. I just don't. And I remember going home and I didn't touch my NES again. I just didn't. I just like, oh my
Yeah,
god.
quite
I had
right
to
too.
wait until I got a Super Nintendo at my mum's before I played games at home again because I just felt like I'm missing. I want to play that because it wasn't all the games before it. They were, like Alter Beast and stuff like that I had at my dad's. I enjoyed them, but I didn't love them the way that I love Sonic to begin with. And then as soon as I played Sonic, I was like, I can't go back to the NES at all. It makes me sick. But yeah, and how slow Mario was in comparison. Obviously, it's
And
a completely different game, and I love Super Mario Brothers 3 to death. But just that when I was 11 or 12, it was just like, oh my god, I can't
dude,
go back.
absolutely. And I think that specific attitude is precisely the reason why games like Little Samson cost as much as they do today. So nobody
Yeah.
bought those late generation NES games because they were like, I got 16-bit now. I don't need this.
Yeah. Because it's
You know, what I
surprising
find
just
interesting
how
is,
big the
oh,
jump
sorry.
was. Yeah, sorry, Thomas, you go.
What I find interesting is when you look at the social groups with their consoles, the way they spread. So, for example, in my friend group, I was the first person to get a Mega Drive, and the others were playing on their NES. And then over time, the Mega Drive started to spread slowly, and others got them as well. But I was basically the pacemaker in that regard because I waited longer to get a console, and then I got the newer one all of a sudden. I don't know. Was it the same for you guys? Sorry, John?
I
Well,
don't know if we were as cool as you, Thomas, by the sounds of it.
I mean, you
no,
had a
we
Neo Geo,
right.
Thomas. Come on now.
Yeah. No,
That was a bit
it
later,
wasn't like
and I
that.
was very lucky.
Yeah, in the with my friend circle, like I said, most of them were either Sega or Amiga guys.
Mhm.
So, but I was always lagging behind. So I was always the sort of the late comer to these things. Now I am an early adopter. Well, I've been an early adopter since Saturn. But
Yeah.
it's
I was
Yeah, the
mixed
thing
for our
is,
friend group, I would say,
Mhm.
where most people, I think Sega was more popular, but Nintendo was beloved as well. And even in the handheld space, a lot of us had Game Boys, and there was also the Game Gear owners, and some of us had both. And I think everybody just enjoyed all of it, even if there was sometimes some bickering around it. Nobody had a TurboGrafx that I knew. I didn't know anybody with a Master System before that.
Hmm.
I knew one person with a 3DO though,
Wow.
which
Oh boy.
totally different
Yeah.
world.
No, I had a friend
I
with,
mean,
with a 3DO. That was
it's as I said again. Germany was very Nintendo centric because Nintendo. Quick question: did you have in the UK some sort of like the Nintendo newsletter magazine
yeah.
for?
We had the Nintendo Fun Club newsletter, I think it was called, or something like that,
All
or
right,
Club Nintendo. It was a
that's what we had
magazine.
too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Was it free as
Fun
well?
Club.
it was free. Yeah, you sent off a
Right.
little coupon that you got
Mhm.
with your system,
Yeah.
and I think mine came with. Yeah, it was with the NES, and you sent it off, and then they just send you these things in the post every. I think it was every quarter. I don't think it was every month.
I think every month. Yeah. Same here. But the thing
Oh
is,
no,
of
I think
course,
in
so
UK
if
it was
you
every. I think it was every quarter in the UK
okay.
because I don't remember it coming very often.
I mean, the thing is, if you read those, if you're in that ecosystem, it's hard to get out. I think because I mean, if you're Nintendo playing, right, you get Castlevania, you get Mario, you get Mega Man, all the brands you like, and then going to Mega Drive, it's all not there at first, at least. So you go into an all new gaming ecosystem. You don't know if you like it, but I think once you made that jump, it was amazing.
Yeah, good point.
That's like I was saying. I was quite fortunate to have a broken home, so that I could experience both consoles.
I think
But
for my age group, the jumping of the platform was missing out on the Amiga and ST and going from the ZX Spectrums, the Amstrads, and the Commodores over to the console side of things instead of another home computer.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so.
Like I said, I got an Amiga in '94, so quite late getting into the Amiga games. So I'd already been playing Super Nintendo and Mega Drive, so getting an Amiga wasn't really that spectacular for me because it was a 600 that I got, so it wasn't even the 1200. So again, I didn't notice any. Yeah, I thought, well, maybe actually the Amiga games kind of look worse. But
For sure. I knew exactly one person with an Amiga, and it was my cousin. And it was a very strange object in the US, not a common machine at all. But
yeah, when we were doing an Amiga podcast a few months ago, I did it with Ashley Day, and yeah, when I was doing my research into it, is the UK and Germany made up 90% of the total worldwide sales
believe
of
it.
the Amiga.
Really?
Yeah, just
Right.
those two, these two countries, the UK and
That's
Germany.
mind-boggling. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it only sold, but it's sold close between 5 and 6 million. There's no definitive number. So 90% of that 5 to 6 million was Germany and the UK, but the Germany was, I think, about 250,000 more.
Oof.
Yeah, Amiga was big here.
Yeah.
Mm.
Whereas I think America was a really tiny fraction.
Yeah, I mean, in the US, it was like PCs as a gaming platform didn't really start to really take off, I would argue, until MS-DOS PCs got CD-ROMs, right? So like kind of like the early 93, 94 period, we started to see a larger and larger take up. I mean, they'd been around for a while, but like that's the point when it started to really become a big deal. And I think I really got into PC myself at the end of 94 with a full like multimedia PC, playing Doom and stuff.
I think
And
I
that
was
actually,
just after you.
The Amiga will have had the competition from the Apple as well in America, which we definitely didn't have over here at that time.
Yeah.
yeah,
Home
Apple was
computers
very
really didn't
popular in
take,
schools, basically.
like PCs did not take off over here until about 95, 96 is when they started to become more affordable. Because before that, you're looking at one and a half, £2,000 for a
Yep.
good computer, which
It's
was out of
expensive.
reach for most families in the UK in the early 90s.
And the biggest game on it then was editing your auto-exec BAT file.
Yeah.
Because they were a fucking nightmare to get running back then as well. My mate Graham had one in about 94, 95. And yeah, he spent so long titting about with that. I was like, can we just play Street Fighter?
Gosh.
I think mine was about probably 96, was a compact Windows 95 machine with Mist. So I was one of the many millions of the people sales of that where it was bundled in with the PC. But that was formative moment. I think I became a PC gamer for quite a while after that.
Same.
I
But
was
still,
trying to convince my parents to go in halves for the Amstrad Mega was it Mega PC?
Oh
Yeah.
yes,
It had the Mega Drive slot at the front
Yeah.
with the Mega Drive. Yeah,
I wanted one of those.
I wanted one so bad,
oh,
but
I
I
wanted
It
the
always
Japanese one.
fascinating.
because it was Amstrad, wasn't it? It was an Amstrad machine.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah. Speaking of having a variation, there are lots of variations of the Mega Drive, and I don't know that much about them, but I know like at least 3 of you probably do know a lot about the variations. Do you guys want to go into a bit of detail about those different variations of the system?
Yeah,
Yes, I
absolutely.
I gotta jump off here shortly, but I do want to talk quickly about this as well, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Absolutely.
Please
Take
do.
a lead, John.
I mean, obviously, the very first Mega Drive was the one, my favorite one, with the big 16-bit lettering on it and the sort of accent color. It's the wider model. It had a volume control knob and an actual headphone jack on it, from which you could extract stereo audio. It was a beautiful machine, and of course, it had a little side pocket that would be an expansion bus for use on the Mega CD. And then in the main line, I think it was in 93-ish, perhaps around then, we got the redesigned Genesis slash Mega Drive, which was a smaller unit, right? And this is around the time when they dubbed it the core system, although they also sold it with Sonic 2 in the US. And there was different bundles out there, but this smaller unit got rid of the volume control. It got rid of the headphone jack, and it was just sort of it was a chance to rebrand it, right? I know in the US that's when they switched to the red box style. I assume in PAL regions that's also when they made changes to the core branding of the system to coincide with the Mega Drive 2. Is that right?
No, it was a bit later for us.
Really?
But the Mega Drive
Okay.
2 launched. It launched when did it launch? It must have launched 93 as well. 1993. Yeah, 93. Would have been 93. But we didn't get that new blue branding until sort of late 94.
Because the original boxes for the Mega Drive 2 still had that black with the grey lines sort
Yeah.
of vector landscape disappearing into the background, didn't they? So it was still
They
on
did,
brand
yeah.
for the original stuff.
So what's interesting then, of course, from those first two models alone, there were several different bundles as well, including obviously the first one was the big Altered Beast bundle, which made sense as far as like showcasing. And this is actually, I still have a box from this where it's got an image of the game being played, the transformation sequence on a screen with arcade graphics and sound, new dimensions and gameplay printed on the box. And the thing is during that first run, you got Sonic the Hedgehog bundle. There was like a Streets of Rage bundle at some point. Between that and the Mega Drive 2, there was actually many, many revisions of the motherboard within the system, right? Which opens a whole can of worms I don't think anybody would have been aware of at the time. But depending on which motherboard revision you have, you get variable video and certainly audio quality. There was changes made to the sound chip that can be heard for sure. So certain models of it are less desirable than others, though I believe most, if not all of them, can now be modded to solve these issues.
I remember falling down a Racket Boy rabbit hole when I was finding which one to buy in like 2010.
It's a mess, dude. It's wild out there, and it's hard to tell even just from looking at the unit. And I guess on the original Model 1, there was some changes made to the external unit, like they changed some of the text around a little bit.
That high definition graphics.
Yeah, that's what it was. They removed that. And along the same lines, there was a certain point where they added in there was like a lockout chip, if you will, that was added where you see
TMSS.
the TMSS, where it actually has that like that Sega trademark information that pops up when you turn on the system. Whereas the earlier models do not have that. And it turns out some of those earlier games will not boot on any system with a TMSS chip in it, which is like, I think, which was it? Super Thunderblade might be one of them. There's a couple others, but they just will not start on a TMSS system, which is kind of annoying, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then from the main line, of course, we also got the much later, and I don't know if this ever showed up in Europe, the Majesco Genesis 3, sorry.
3. No, that never came out over here. Well, not in the UK anyway. I don't know about Germany, Thomas. Did it come out over there?
Never, no.
I didn't think so. And it's not great. It's like a very cheap little model, removes a lot of functionality. You can't use it with any of the add-ons or anything. It's kind of off my radar. But of course, yeah, go ahead.
I had one for a bit, a boxed one. It looked nice. It was nice and cute and small, but as you said, it wouldn't run, for example, Virtua Racing from memory, and I ended up moving it on when I had to clear out many years ago.
Ah, excellent. Yeah, see, and that's the thing, right? So, but that was basically the main breadth of the Genesis Mega Drive hardware, were those 3 generations. But there was a lot of other hardware, right? The Sega Nomad is one of them, which I quite like, which is the portable.
Yeah, I have one of those as well.
And
it's the portable one with a screen. Because
yes,
you've got the handheld Mega Jet too, which is kind of useless without the screen.
Which is just a portable system that you have to connect. But the Nomad at least retains the ability to do video out, which I think is fantastic. There's also things like the CDX, which is what is it called in Europe?
The Multi-Mega.
The Multi-Mega.
Yeah. I lusted after that so hard.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. It's so small. For those that haven't seen it, it is basically this. It's slightly larger than, say, a portable CD player of the era, right?
Yeah.
And it's a very compact little unit. You got your CD-ROM drive in the front, and then right behind it is a cartridge slot. You can play your Genesis games in it. And it's an all-in-one unit. I believe you can use it portably as well. Does it have battery support? I can't recall.
I'm just going to turn around and have a look.
I don't have one, alas. I wish I did.
Yeah,
same.
It does have a battery slot.
So you could probably use
2 AA's. That can't fucking last long.
Yeah, you can definitely listen to the first 3 tracks of your favorite album.
Yeah, it must be for the CD playing element rather than anything else.
I think
because it has a headphone jack as well, doesn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
But beyond that, though, gosh, it just keeps getting crazier. So my favorite looking system, and one that I sadly will probably never be able to own, is the Wonder Mega, the original Wonder Mega from JVC, which is another combination unit that I think is just a stunning design, with a circular CD player on the right, a cartridge slot sort of integrated into the lines of the machine like a beautiful automobile almost, 2 circular buttons situated just above the controller ports, and then a few other control buttons for the CD player on the side. Just a gorgeous piece of kit. Very, very expensive. And it doesn't support RGB out of the box. So you got to mod your Wonder Mega if you want that.
My favorite bit about the Wonder Mega, is you press the button to open the CD lid, and it's like a mechanical slow open. And you can press it, and it slow closes as well.
That's so cool.
It's just it's amazing.
Yeah, but then they did
one, Jay?
I have one.
Of course you do.
Boxed.
They released a sequel to that, though.
I've got one of
that one. That one's much less pretty. The Wonder Mega M2, which also I think got released in the US as the XI.
That's right. Yeah, the XI.
The original Wonder Mega did not hit the US, but the XI did. And that actually came packaged with, one of the things that came packaged with was Compton's Interactive Encyclopedia, which reminded me of the old craze of about 94, 95, when everything was shipping. Anything that had a CD-ROM drive had to ship with an encyclopedia. And Carta, Drawlier's, Compton's. You had to do it. It was there, and they took part in it as well, which I think is just hilarious and fun. So those are great. Then there's stuff like the Pioneer Laser Active, which I think anybody that's touched one of those like curls up in fear just thinking about the pain that it can cause due to hardware failure. But it's essentially a giant Laserdisc player that has this little slot where you can insert packs that play either Mega Drive or PC Engine games, right? And this actually unlocks, in Sega's case, Mega LD games, which are Laserdisc games that also work in conjunction with the Mega Drive hardware. Like I don't remember what it's like. Pyramid Intruder is the 3DO version, but it's like Pyramid Patrol maybe. On
Yeah, that
Mega
sounds right.
LD is out there, and there's a few others. They're not great. It's basically
No.
FMP rail shooters, but the video quality, of course, it's Laserdisc, so it's way beyond what the actual Sega CD portion could do. But neat. And then, I mean, there's the Iowa Mega CD, which was like a freaking mini boombox that could play Mega CD games as well. And then there's all those computers, the Tera Drive, the Amstrad Mega PC. And I think there's a few other variants out there too, which are essentially like 386 class PCs, maybe, that
Yeah.
also have a Mega Drive built in. But it wasn't combined, right? Like if you wanted to play Mega Drive, you had to shift the whole PC to that mode,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
would output its own
Physical
video
slot.
signal, right? It wasn't like you were playing Mega Drive games in Windows or something. We had to save that for the 3DO Blaster.
I always wonder what the video quality would be like on that. Was it a VGA out quality, or was it like an RF lead as well coming out the back into the back of a monitor?
So that's actually something I've also wondered about, because personally I have not been able to use one. But you're right, it's 15 kilohertz versus 31 kilohertz, right? So because it all has to work on the same monitor, I would assume then that the monitor included is a multi-sync type, similar to what you would have gotten with a Sharp X68000, where it can handle 15, 24, 31 kilohertz. If not, then who the heck knows?
And it's unlikely I'll find out anytime soon, because it's one of the variations I don't have, unfortunately. That and the Iowa stereo, which
Now we
the
know.
stereo
I'll
is
make.
the one
Get
I
the
want.
man who has everything.
Yeah, no, I don't. Quang DX has, I think, both of those.
Of course
so
he
he's the man
does.
to ask. Yeah.
Now,
Good
I
old
was
Quang.
mistaken though. So it's only the Mega PC that has the 386. The actual Tera Drive, which is way more beautiful, is actually only a 286.
Ugh.
So it's a 10 megahertz 286, basically a useless computer for so much stuff. 286.
But I still want one.
I would still take it.
Hmm.
But gosh, it does. The Tera Drive at least seems to have a weird like boot menu that allows you to like go through different options on the PC. Like it's weird. I need to use one of these someday. But this, I think that and everything else. Plus, there's like Korean variants of these things, and there's just so much that happened in this. There was that selection of PAL Asian Mega Drives a few years back. I know I bought one of those when they were brand new in box, because they discovered them in a warehouse somewhere, and you're like, all right, I'll take one of those.
I got one of those too. You can tell by like the weight of the plastic and stuff that it's obviously a aftermarket kind of, let's reduce costs and sell these on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you really feel the difference. But also in Brazil, where Tectoy still reigns supreme, you've got the Mega Drive 3 and the Mega Drive 4 as well.
Right.
So you can't kill that machine.
I actually have a Brazilian Mega Drive. Friend Danilo Diaz, who did like Blazing Chrome and all that, he actually brought one of those for me to Gamescom one year, and it looks like a Mega Drive 1, but it's weird. It's a weird system, and it uses some Brazilian TV standard that I can't use at all on any of my hardware. It just does not. It's like puts out like a weird black and white signal. It's just like, oh, what is this? But apparently there's ones with like HDMI and all that now that it's a crazy market down there. Needless to say, there's a lot of variations. I've probably missed some, but hopefully for those listening, you get an idea of just how much hardware was made, because this was not the case for the competition from Nintendo. There was not like a ton of Nintendo systems. If you're talking PC Engine, maybe it's closer. There's a lot of PC Engine variants, but Nintendo, nah, they just stuck with basically the basic models. That's all you got. But Sega actually went pretty nuts and also allowed other companies to adapt it.
Yeah, and that was really cool.
That's not including the add-ons like the Mega CD, the Mega CD2, the 32X,
Gosh.
the Master System Power Base, Mega Adapter, and the karaoke unit.
Oh, the karaoke unit. You need that.
I got that.
Gosh.
It's not boxed though.
That's right. And yeah, all those different man. So many variations, so much hardware.
Original
part of the-
Tower of Power kind of gear.
And that's why a lot of people lost faith in Sega when they shifted to the Saturn, because it felt like they were just selling all this hardware for a lot of money and then, kind of turn tail and switch to the next generation. But that I maintain though that I actually like the 32X, but I think it was a mistake. But I think the Sega CD, Mega CD, is a truly fantastic machine that's somewhat misunderstood because of the American focus on full motion video games. But when you actually look at especially the Japanese library on Mega CD, it's nothing like that. There's barely any FMV.
Yeah.
So that was
We
just a
got,
weirdly American thing, right?
Yeah, because we didn't get a lot of those FMV games over here that you guys had.
You're lucky.
Ours was very much more in line more with the Japanese games, wasn't it? So
It was, yeah. We were much more aligned to that.
Yeah. And that's why I think I have a bit more of a fondness for the Mega CD than I do the 32X, because the 32X I like about 2 games on it, and I still want to go back and kick 16-year-old Chris in the nuts for going in and spending that money on it when he could have kept that for the Saturn.
I guess the last thing to note on the hardware side is that the system did support helper chips, but it was rarely used. Like there's the SVP chip, right, in Virtua Racing, which you mentioned earlier, not working with the Genesis 3. But by and large, most Genesis Mega Drive games shipped, they didn't rely on additional hardware, whereas Nintendo, with the NES first, but still with the Super NES, they did it often. I guess it almost served as like a cost-cutting measure to some degree, where certain operations, if you needed to do this on the system, you could actually purchase an additional chip to use on the board of the game. So you increase your game cost by offloading some of the hardware to the game cartridge in order to get the speed that you need. You didn't have to do that on the Genesis, really.
Limitations of the CPU that was chosen. Great for some tasks, not so great for others.
Indeed.
Before you go, John, do you just want to quickly shout out some of your favorite games? Because that's what we're going to move on to next.
Oh my gosh, of course. I mean, so obviously, as I mentioned, Rocket Knight. Sorry, Sonic. I'm thinking of first. I got to get to Rocket Knight. It's on. I'm thinking of my top 5 list right now here, and Rocket Knight's actually right up there. All the Sonic games, though, are high on that list. But my favorite is actually Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Yeah. That's the correct choice, John.
Mega Drive games. Yeah,
it's so good. But then right under that, Rocket Knight Adventures is really, really high on my list. I think it's a masterpiece. I've talked about this many times, but it's just great level design, a perfect example of what the situation rush is, that those designers really tried to pull off and mastered with Contra. So of course, a lot of the Konami games, Contra the Hardcore, Castlevania as well, really great stuff on there. But then you start to get into like all the various shooters and stuff, and there's just so much on there. Obviously, going back, Thunder Force 4, big one. Thunder Force 3 as well. But stuff I discovered later, games like Glay Lancer, which I really, really enjoy. And of course, Battlemania Daiginjo, which is very expensive, but a very, very, very excellent game with truly stunning visuals for the platform. But there's so much more than that, of course. I also have a soft spot for Vic Tokai's Time Dominator First / Socket. Do you guys know that one?
Yeah, that's a weird one. That
I don't
No.
I have such a weird soft spot for it because of it's just got this really cool presentation and great soundtrack that I think really elevates it. So I always have to mention that. But then there's the Shinobi games, of course. All of them I think are brilliant. And Shinobi 3, when I look at it, I feel like it's just like 16-bit perfected. Like it's so well done.
Yeah, I agree. That's it's like for me. That is like one of the games I think of when I think of the 16-bit era. That defines it for me. It's so good.
It's so
and it
good.
looks amazing. The animations are incredible.
still today looks absolutely outstanding. All the Streets of Rage games, of course, but my favorite is actually, well, I'd say 2, but I also like the Japanese version, Bare Knuckle 3. I think that's quite enjoyable. The US version, which I remember playing back in the day, is extremely punishing in a way that's not always fun. So, I mean, I don't want to name everything because I know you guys will get to it, but one that I have to give a shout out, of course, is Mega Turrican, which I only got into later, but as it turns out, it's one of the only Western games with an actual great soundtrack, courtesy of Chris Hulsbeck, of course, who wrote his own driver for the system, and it actually sounds good, which it doesn't use gems, of course.
I was going to defend Lotus Challenge there for a second soundtrack.
I mean, that's not to say that there aren't some Western games with good music, right? They do exist. It's just that by and large, they sound pretty lousy compared to a lot of the best stuff coming out of Japan.
It's true.
Right.
Yeah.
So, which is a shame. Man, if I had my collection in front of me, I could just go on and on. But that's the kind of stuff that really appeals to me. Of course, all the treasure stuff. Love that. Weirdly enough, I think my favorite is Dynamite Heady.
Oh, that's one of theirs. I love that.
I love that game. And the thing about treasure games is that they're always difficult to sink your teeth into. And both Heady and Alien Soldier especially are games that I bounced off of for years. But then once you finally got the mechanics and understood it, it becomes just like an amazing experience.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, right? That you really got to sit down and learn the games and understand how to play them, and they reward you in kind.
But back then we did go through the game because you just spent 40 quid and you weren't buying another game for a couple of months. So you would sit there and you'd rinse a game. You'd go through it. And if you...
mine was rental as well.
Yeah, I rented Alien Soldier, and I just remember thinking, this game is too hard. I'm going to take this back a day early and get something
We didn't
else.
have that one in the US. I mean, that might have been on Sega Channel, but I certainly did not play Alien Soldier back in the day. So it was kind of like a surprise. No, it did not. So unfortunately,
now I sound ungrateful. Sorry.
It's quite all
it's
right.
An acquired taste, yeah.
Indeed.
I like it now, but it's when I was been 12 or 13 when I played that, and I just found it way too hard. I just could not get past the first level at all. I don't even think I got that many screens through.
Thinking of games that didn't come out in the US, though, I have to give a shout out to one that I feel is very underrated, Golden X3.
Yes.
A lot of people don't like Golden X3, and I understand it's a small cartridge. The graphics aren't always beautiful, but in terms of pure gameplay, I think it's actually the best of the 3 on the system. It plays really well. It shares more with something like Streets of Rage 3 than older Golden Axe titles, and just has a running system, better throwing system.
Yeah.
The actions just feel better. Like everything about it controls great. The music is outstanding. Same composer as Sonic CD, who Thomas and I got to meet this year or last year. Actually,
very nice guy,
very nice dude, Hataya-san. We talked to him for a while, so that was cool. And his soundtrack in this excellent. But yeah, that's a weird one. I think that only got a cartridge release in Japan, but it may have been on Sega Channel back in the day.
I think it was, yeah.
Sega Channel, man, it was cool, but it sure stole a lot of cartridge games from us. But that'll do it for now for me. I think I'll leave all the rest to you guys. But
that's great. Cheers, John.
John, thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I hope I didn't talk too much. I apologize if so, but I just
no, it was great. Your enthusiasm was infectious. So
that's good. So I'll let you guys clean up the rest. Shout out all the rest of the awesome games because there's so many.
Yeah.
And keep on rocking Sega.
Cheers, John. Thanks a lot.
See you all later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, you.
Now, sir.
Give me the Cybo Razor Cut.
A Cyber Razor Cut.
100 Mega Drive games. They get faster, they get harder. What are you going to do to keep up?
Next.
You mean it works?
To be this good takes sacrifice.
Cool. So, okay, who wants to go next with their games?
I'm
wants
going
to
to
start?
point to Thomas. Thomas,
All right.
Let's
Yep.
go.
I made a little list of 5 games I especially like. So I hope I won't take away anything from you guys, but I'll maybe just start with Musha Alesta. Anybody has it on their list?
It's on mine for sure.
That's on mine. Yeah,
I've got a T-shirt.
but I've got lots of pivots.
T-shirt, that's awesome. Yeah, I think the thing is, the Alesta series is probably my favorite shooting series ever, and Musha Alesta is my favorite game in that series. So there you go. I mean, it looks absolutely amazing. It came out pretty early in the Mega Drive lifespan, and the music is so good. It's a game I still break out.
I had a coffee with the musician who wrote all the stuff for that when I was in
Oh
Japan.
yeah, you told me about it, I think, yeah. I hope I meet him this year.
I'll make sure we do, yeah.
Ah, that's awesome. But yeah, for this, everything in this game is just pretty much on point for me. You have these effects right in stage 3. You have you fly over this ravine, enemies zoom out, plates drop down. It's just breathtaking, and so yeah, amazing game. Anything you want to add to that, to Musha Alesta?
I love the parallax in it. You know, as you're flying up and you see the valleys that like disappear into the distance, and it looks great, and the soundtrack that goes with it, it's a perfect mix. You know, that audio visual combination.
Yeah. I mean, back in the day when it came out, I think there was a bit of criticism because it was supposed to be too easy, but I think it's very well balanced and it's really playable today. I mean, a game like Hellfire is very fun, but Hellfire is tough as nails. So Musha Alesta is much more friendly for, let's say, for the average player.
Yes, I agree, 100%. You got that right.
And of course, then you add to that this beautiful introduction that really brings to mind these typical PC Engine CD intros.
Yeah.
With the mechas and the characters talking, well, of course in text, but still talking, before they're all shut down. It's just, I think it's brilliant from beginning to the end.
Yeah, and the cover art is top notch.
Yep, the Japanese one, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, then I have one. Okay, I'm pretty sure nobody else has this on their list. It's Phantasy Star 3. Anybody?
It's not on my list.
No.
Yeah. Because, I mean, it is the black sheep in the series, as everybody says, but for one, it was my first RPG ever that I played. But even apart from that, the game has such a unique atmosphere, I think. The music, the story had this very melancholic tone to it. You have these generation changes 2 times in the game. You can play it for 4 different endings. And I mean, of course, there's weaknesses, right? I mean, the battle animations of the monsters are ridiculous, and it all looks a bit samey, and the story is interesting, but not really fleshed out. But still, I think the atmosphere in Phantasy Star 3 is really unique. And I don't know any game that could compare to the way this particular one feels. Even though 2 and 4 are, of course, the better games.
Interesting. Yeah. I've never played a Phantasy Star game all the way through on a Mega Drive. So
oh, you didn't?
Yeah.
I'm still trying to do
it
Master
wasn't like
System
an
on the
RPG.
Switch.
Yeah.
I really love that version though on the Switch, of the Master System one. So good.
Oh yeah. And by the way, if you want to play Phantasy Star 2 in a nice fashion, the version that M2 put on the Mega Drive Mini is very nice because it also gives you these options for balancing, for speed, and so on. I think it's on the Mega Drive Mini too, actually.
It's on the Mega Drive Mini too, yeah.
And of course, you can play all of them with these options if you get the Sega Ages version on the PS2. Which, again, sadly, is a bit expensive nowadays. But that's worse than that. But yeah, Phantasy Star 3 is amazing, I think. I once had contact with the composer of the game for an online interview. She was very friendly, gave a lot of interesting answers about the time working on the game. And yeah, it's just... it's the game I bring up if there's any RPG discussion, because most people either don't care for it, don't know it, whatever. but I think it's underrated. It has really
I
its
think it's
qualities.
good. I think it's like a 7, whereas I think 2 and 4 are like 9s and 10.
I think 4 is clearly a 10. 2,
Yeah. 2
I need to
I
play.
would say is a 9. I love 2.
Mm.
But I think 3 is probably a 7. It is good. It's just doesn't. It's just not as good.
Yeah, it's not as polished, of course. You can see that the creators weren't RPG experts because I think they were mostly Golden Axe people from the Golden Axe port on the Mega Drive who did their first RPG. I think only the director went over from 2 to 3.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I just assumed it was the same team. I was like, whoa, what were they doing?
No, the team from Fantasy 2 went over to make to mostly make Sonic. Because right, you had Yuji Naka, you had Riko Kodama, and all these people. They were needed on the big marquee title.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right then, let's maybe stay with in the rough RPG area, and next one for me is Shining Force, the first one.
Yeah, that's on my list. So that's a great game.
So you want to talk about it a bit before I take it all away?
It's okay. I've got stuff to pivot to. It's good. I have like a list of about 50.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it's all good. Yeah.
Yeah, I really tried to whittle it down on my list. So Shining Force was actually my second strategy game I played, and at first I wasn't a fan because I played Warsong, Lang we said before, and if you played that, it's much more complex, much more difficult, much more challenging, and compared to that, Shining Force felt slow and simple, but it really grew on me over time because what I love about the first Shining Force is every battle in the game is very unique. You don't have any filler. Everyone has its own little twist, its own little mechanic, its own little interesting tweak, and that makes them also really, really fun to play. You can really, if you play the game again, every battle has its role, not only in the story but also in the game design. So they introduce new units, they introduce the first boss, they introduce new areas and everything, new grounds to move on, and I think that's amazing. And while the second one is, I think, pretty good, the second one has for me too much filler material, too many just random fights in some green areas with some random enemies, and very few memorable fights. You have the Kraken, you have the chessboard, but apart from that, it's all quite samey, and it's not like that in the first one.
Yeah, I think the second one's got a stronger storyline than the first, but you are right. The gameplay is way more varied in the first game than it is the second game. Yeah, I agree.
And I also think the first one looks better than the second one. It has these huge, chunky sprites, these really detailed backgrounds, and you can see for the second one that it was mostly a new team working on it with a very different style. It's just not as impressive as the first one.
Yeah. But the soundtrack in the first one is just absolutely superb as well. Such
a
good score. Oh, yeah. I could listen to that every day. It's so good. But that was my first introduction to that sort of tactical strategy RPG. So for me, it was like this whole new world. I was like, oh my god, what is this style game? And yeah, just playing through that for the first time, that's when I became absolutely hooked on playing those games. I still play them as much as possible now. But yeah, I would love Shining Force to return like that.
Man, I would kill for that. Pretty much, yeah. I mean, the last Shining games were all pretty I think. I think the series really died with the Saturn, and all that came afterwards is just...
it's living off the name. There's nothing to do with the series.
Nothing at all.
Yeah. Such a shame.
Yep. I mean, the guys Golden Sun is basically a Shining game in all but name, but I mean, the last one's also been years ago now. So yeah, I don't think we'll see another one like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a shame. It is really.
And the team is making Mario Tennis, Mario Golf these days.
That's what I was about to say. And they're just making sports games.
And they are great sports games, but I would love for them to make a new strategy game like Shining Force.
I mean, they could even work on Fire Emblem as another studio alongside Intelligent Systems, right? I mean,
they could, but I think Shining Force is so much better than Fire Emblem. It's so much more fun to play, I think. Fire Emblem is always a bit... it's either too hard, either too easy. Too much
The
stuff around.
GBA ones for me and the GameCube one, I adore those Fire Emblems. I quite like Awakening quite a bit as well. But
Yeah.
it's the GBA and the GameCube. And the Wii. I like the Wii one as well. I think that's quite good. But it's not as good as the GameCube one or Sacred Stones, which is still the best Fire Emblem by a mile. But that is because it feels way more like a Sega game than it does a Nintendo game.
Yeah,
good point.
Like, it really does. It looks like it as well. It's got way more color than any of the other Fire Emblem games. It's just, it's beautiful.
Yep.
And those sprites look like Mega Drive sprites as well. It's so good.
Yeah, they have some great sprite work.
Yeah.
By the way, did you guys play the GBA part of the first Shining Force?
I did,
No.
yeah.
I think this is pretty good.
It's good, but the music's crap.
I mean, it's a GBA game.
Yeah.
Comes with territory.
Yeah. And that was the biggest disappointment for me, getting that and then putting it on, putting my headphones in, being like, oh, yes. Oh, God, it sounds like shit.
Yeah, but I quite like the new localization and the expanded text. That really
yes, they do add more to the story in the GBA version, which is welcome, and it does make it a better story than Shining Force 2.
It's more rounded on the GBA.
Yeah. It's just I just wish I could play it with a good soundtrack.
That should make a patch for that.
Why hasn't anyone done that? Like, come on, internet, what are you here for?
Yeah,
exactly.
Get AI to do it. So, hey, AI, can you?
Don't set Thomas off, okay?
I
not
honestly
a fan.
do not want that. I've spent my day arguing against AI at work today. So not against an actual AI, but against people who would like us to use AI. Yeah. Sorry, Thomas. Next, what have you got?
Next one. I very much love Wonder Boy Monster World. It's my favorite Wonder Boy game ever because
it's the best one.
It looks beautiful, right? It plays really nicely. I mean, it has this huge interface element on the top, but I don't mind that. And I think it has the best balance between adventure and action parts.
Yeah,
that's probably the biggest thing for me. And of course, it's a Metroidvania game in every regard.
Yeah.
You get new skills, you get new items, and you can access new areas with that.
Go back, it's great.
I
Especially
still have to play Dragon's Trap first, but I'll give it a second.
Is that available to play anywhere on modern systems?
Yeah,
the remake is out.
Of it. Yeah,
that's wonderful. Yeah,
it's really well done.
Oh my god, I need to get that.
That's the best way to play it by far, I think. Especially because it runs in 60 FPS. Yeah, and you can switch between new and old graphics.
Yeah, and sound effects and music. It's the first time I've seen that done.
I mean, it was made by Omar Konut. You know the guy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that man is a genius, and that is his magnum opus in terms of games.
Okay, I'm going to have
such a labor of love.
Get that straight after this.
Absolutely.
It's on all modern platforms.
On everyone, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
It's even on iOS and
TV. Certainly on Switch.
I think I played it on PS4 and Vita.
But the thing is, what I prefer about Monster World compared to Dragon's Trap is the world is more intertwined, because if you play Dragon's Trap, you have a hub in the middle, and then you just go out into the rather distinct levels, which is a fine thing, but you have more connections in Monster World. And of course, in return, you don't get the transformations, which are, of course, a lot of fun in Dragon's Trap.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I think Monster World is, as I said, it's probably my favorite Wonder Boy game.
No, that's great.
Right.
Anything else?
One final game on my list, and that would be Super Shinobi. John already sang the praises for Shinobi 3, Super Shinobi 2, which is amazing, but I myself prefer the first one a little bit because it just feels a bit more elegant. It's a bit more, it's more slow paced, but it's so incredibly stylish, right? The music is amazing.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, the music is amazing. Yeah. I love the enemy designs. There's so much variety. Stuff like that screen filling sort of Godzilla in the penultimate level. Stuff like that is so impressive still today. And I mean, this is one of the first games on the system, and what they did with that, it's mind blowing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely agree.
it is. I rented that in early '91, and I do remember absolutely adoring it. Because I've not played Shinobi before, because obviously I wasn't a Sega kid, so I didn't have a Master System. I didn't play Shinobi in the arcade, and then playing that for the first time, I was like, "Oh my god, this is so! I prefer this to Ninja Gaiden, or not Ninja Gaiden. What was it called over here?
Shadow Warrior.
Oh,
I think.
Yes,
yeah,
that was it. Shadow Warrior. Yes, I played Shadow Warrior on the NES, and I bought that on the NES, and I enjoyed that quite a bit. But yeah, playing Super Shinobi, I was like, "Oh, this is how you do a ninja game."
And of course, all these cool, let's call them cameos nowadays, right? All the
Yeah.
stolen characters. It's so much
The
fun. I
stolen
mean,
characters, yeah.
the game has how
Going
many
against
variations?
Spider-Man and Batman. It's, yeah.
I think the game has 4 or 5 iterations by now across various platforms, all with their own little changes. But I am so happy I still have the Japanese first iteration there is, with everything in there.
Wow, cool.
With Batman,
cool.
with Rambo, with the Terminator, with Spider-Man, all the fun stuff's in there.
Yeah, because wasn't the PAL one that didn't only have Spider-Man?
Might be. I think they already changed Batman at least.
Yeah,
into
because I
this
know
sort of
Batman wasn't in the
Devilman
PAL
figure.
one. I'd seen it. I've seen it in mags, but then I remember Spider-Man being in it. But didn't Sega have the Spider-Man license at the time as well?
Yeah,
though?
they put the copyright in the title somewhere.
Yeah.
And of course, the fine iteration has even a different title screen, because they just drew over that Sonny Chiba motif in the original.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
And I think for the last one, I think M2 did that, and they used the face of one of their employees for that.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
That is so cool.
M2 rock.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and by the way, let me add one half game. I'm not a fan of the game itself, but it's tech so amazing. That's Gauntlet 4. Anybody wants to talk about that, or am I the only one?
Oh man, I've not played Gauntlet 4 on the Mega Drive, but I love the Gauntlet series. So
it's an amazing story.
Because I've not
the one on the Mega Drive. Yeah.
Yeah. I had to quickly elaborate, because a couple of years ago I worked on a book with a friend of mine, that Mega Drive Pixel book, only out in Germany, sadly, because of various reasons. And I got Naoki Hori from M2 to write the introduction. And did he ever deliver? I think he sent about 30,000 words detailing the whole story, how M2 made that Gauntlet 4 port on the Mega Drive back in the day, before they even were M2. And that's such a great read. All these little details, all the little stories of the programmer standing on his head to concentrate, Hori fighting against the Mega Drive color palettes, and how they had to erase their ROM cartridge to try the new build. Amazing stuff. If you like, I can send you the English version into the Discord one day.
That would be fantastic. Yes,
Yeah,
please.
we'll do that.
Yeah.
And of course, the soundtrack is amazing. It was made by help me out with the name again. Composers of Gauntlet 4. All of the guys from Final Fantasy Tactics and Radiant Silvergun and Ikaruga and so on.
Hiroshi Sakamoto?
Exactly, yeah. And his, I think it was Sakamoto, yeah.
Yeah.
He wrote his own sound driver, and the way they got him, they made the game without any sound at first, without any music, because the game in the arcade also had no music. So the publisher one day said, "Listen, guys, get some music in the game, okay?" So on a hunch, Hori was in Akihabara. He met with Sakamoto. He just, "Hey, want to do this music?" "Oh yeah, why not?" So they got to an arrangement, and that's how the music came about.
Incredible.
That is so
funny.
cool.
But yeah, so that would be my short list of my really favorite games, and can't wait to hear you guys.
Yes, let's go, Chris. Why don't you give us yours?
Yeah. Mine be good because of how much they're also fueled by nostalgia, but also they're all games that I still play.
These are the ones that'll be first on your brand new emulator SD card, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
Something like that.
I'm gonna be honest. So you do like you normally do the reverse order. I'm just gonna be bold and go straight in with the game that I never walked past on a Mega Drive, and that's Flicky.
Oh yeah.
The arcade port is like criminally underrated. It's such a great game. And like it's on that compilation with Gunstar Heroes,
Yeah.
which makes
Yeah.
that it made it for ages an incredible value because it was so much cheaper to get that than just Gunstar Heroes. It comes with Flicky, which is phenomenal. You just have to deal with the fact it's also got Altered Beast on there, but we just move on. But yeah, that's probably my favourite. I was sort of deliberately not mentioning the Sonics. They're all great. I still play them now. I'm partway through the Origins thing, so I think they're a given. So then my next two, next one, James Pond Aquatic Games. I spent so many hours playing that with my sisters, and it was a full 4-player game, but completely past the pad. As I said, is great, and it really holds up well now, as long as you've got pads that can withstand the button mashing, obviously. Probably my favourite shoot 'em up on the Mega Drive, maybe because it's the only one I can actually 1cc, was Super Fantasy Zone.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that game is hard as hell.
It is
Yeah.
so hard, but it's so good, so colourful. I love it.
I feel good about you saying it so hard because I can 1cc it.
Can you?
Yeah, it's the only Mega Drive shooter. Well, I think it's the only retro shooter I think I can do. But yeah, it's superb. I play quite a lot of that on my cab. I think all of the Fantasy Zone games are good, but I think that one stands out for me partly because it feels a bit unpolished. I don't know, but also because I can do it, so maybe that's the difference. And then I think I could lump two together just for the summer days that were spent on them, which is the Micro Machines and Mega Bomberman.
Yeah, great pair.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna know what I'm talking about with those, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We talked about Toe Jam and Earl earlier. I think again, timeless. But when we were talking about it earlier, it reminded me that I didn't spend enough time with that remake, which is quite good fun on the Switch. I think I won it on Twitter. A key for it anyway.
I didn't even know there was a remake of that.
Yeah, I think it's got full player as
right.
well. It's definitely got multiple versions of like unlockable characters and stuff. But it
Okay,
played
so
the
that's
same.
two things I'm gonna have to buy on Switch tonight.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then I think I'm trusting Jake to bring up the shooters, but I'll just honorable mention a couple, which is Elemental Master.
Yeah, that was on my list.
Oh, yeah.
Love that game. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
And that one I can almost 1cc. I've never made it past the boss rush at the end.
Yep.
And then the ridiculously great port but solid Truxton or Tatsujin.
Yep.
Mhm.
I love the sound out of those compile games. Really
Yeah.
strong, metallic arcade sound out of them.
They're just such great ports as well. I mean, it's that time of when you didn't have Arcade Perfect, but your brain was doing a lot of work.
Yeah, that term was slung around quite a lot in the 90s, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's like I feel like I'm playing an arcade game at home. It's close enough.
It's yeah. Just no one elbowing me in the ribs as they walk past or whatever. Yeah, sound. Oh, sorry, Mum.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that I'll do that. That'll do for my sort of highlights list because there's so many, and that the library is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I could probably do a top 25 Mega Drive games and just do shoot 'em ups, right?
Yeah, it's that way. Yeah,
Yep.
agree.
So, Jake, should we do it? Keeping it to 5.
Yep.
Cool. Because otherwise, I may not have any as the host going last.
Thank you. Good night. So John mentioned Thunder Force 4 and then Thunder Force 3. Thunder Force 3 is my favorite. It's tight. The music is just incredible. The levels are brilliant. I think Technosoft. I worship the software they create. I think they're amazing. So Thunder Force 3, Elemental Master. Chris has already said.
Yeah.
Those two games, Thunder Force 3 and Elemental Master, I can 1cc each of those. I adore them. They are first on my any console emulator or whatever. I'll put them on. Followed closely by another Technosoft game, Devil Crash MD. I think we talked about this, Chris. I'm
Yes.
on our. I'm totally shit at pinball. Doesn't matter with Devil Crash MD. I really enjoy playing it. The music kicks ass. The goth horror sort of styling of it all. Yeah, it's an ace game. Chris, I'm gonna first Chris, second Chris, first Chris. I think you're probably gonna mention Gunstar Heroes.
Yeah.
So I'll let you have that. I'll let you have that one. You close your hand. That's yours. It's done. It's safe. I'm gonna go for Gyres, another shoot 'em up that came out in Japan and America on the Renovation label. Never got a UK release. Probably more akin to any of the PC Engine CD-ROM software with the long intro and lots of dialogue. Obviously, all text again, but with the very manga-esque cutscenes and face close-ups and half face, half background images. Don't know what it talks about in the build-up, but it was great because I like the Japanese version. It's rock hard. It's very, very difficult.
I don't think I
got
spent
up to
much
the last
time
level.
with it, but
Mm.
I've got
I
the
really,
Renovation collection for Evercade. I
yeah,
think it's on there.
it's got a great little mechanism where the orb thing that follows you around, you can fire it off onto an enemy and it absorbs their weapon power. So and then you can sort of power it up 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So you can inherit enemy powers, which is a novel twist. It's good fun, sounds great. It's quite a challenge. I really enjoy that game. Again, nostalgia fueled, but that's why we're all here, isn't it? That's why we're all listening to this. Another game on my list is EA Hockey. Me and my mate Rob would sit there and play EA Hockey to death. It wasn't until my son started playing ice hockey that I understand what the icing rule was, and Rob would always get me on that. It took me a long time to work it out. Lumped in with EA Hockey was John Madden's. He'd sit there in his Philadelphia Eagles top. I would sit there in my, at the time, Washington Redskins Commanders top. And we would play so much American football. We knew all the plays, we knew where to go. It was great fun, good fun sitting there with your mate playing these games through. And last one I'll mention is Soliel, the top-down sort of Zelda-esque action RPG.
Really great.
Yeah,
I didn't get to play
really,
that until the Mega Drive Mini 2.
yeah. I
When
played
I
that
played that, I
probably
was
in
like, "Oh
about.
my god, this is fantastic!"
I think I got it at a game trading shop, but in about 98, 97, 90, maybe not that late. Yeah, 97, 98. And I really, really enjoyed it. You know, one of those games where I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did. And I started playing it. I'm like, okay, getting big Zelda vibes. This is good. And then just sat there and played it through within 3, 4 days. I think I just loved it. Really enjoyed that game. Road Rash as well. Another one I'd like to throw in there. Road
Yeah,
Rash 2, I think.
yeah, Road Rush 2.
I could just drive and kick shit out of other road users all day long. It's such good fun.
Yeah, I do love Road Rash 2. That was another one of the games that when I went to my dad's, it was there, so he'd obviously bought it and played it.
Yeah. Kicking bikes, hitting them with steel chains. Yeah, great fun.
Yeah, it's awesome. And that was that your last one?
I should say, yeah, that's my I could go as like Chris said, you could go on and on and on and on. Strider, it's on the list. Didn't quite get there, but over to you, Chris. You finish us off.
Shit, you just mentioned Strider. That's put a cat among the pigeons. I've had a real trouble while you guys have been talking, and I've been like taking out games and stuff because every time I try and finalize a 5, someone mentions something, and I've now got my 5. Okay, which is really hard as the host to be able to get these. So I'm going to go first of all with a heart slash nostalgia pick, and it's an RPG, and it's sort of Vermilion.
Oh yeah.
I'd never played an RPG before, and my dad bought this, and because he really liked the idea, he really liked Lord of the Rings books and stuff like that. So he kind of liked the sound of what it's read on the back of the box. And then we sat down and we played through it over a weekend because my brother and sister didn't come that weekend, so it was just me and my dad, and I think his girlfriend was away as well. So it was literally me and my dad all weekend just playing Sword of Vermilion until we finished it. And yeah, I just have so many memories attached to that. And it's the game I will adore that game to the day I die. It's the cartridge, one of the only Mega Drive cartridges I still have that I've never got rid of, because it's like this is like something that's always going to mean something to me. It's not a fantastic RPG, I'm not going to lie, but I just have so many memories of that game that I cherish, you know. So that's definitely in there for me. Another game for me is, as we know it, as The Story of Thor or Beyond Oasis for John. And this one is the Streets of Rage team making a Zelda-esque game, but with kind of Streets of Rage combat. If you know what I mean with that, so you have more of like the combo kicks and things like that, and then you also slash with your sword, and but it's a fantastic adventure game in like in a Zelda kind of mold. No idea why it's called Story of Thor in the UK and Japan, because there's nothing to do with Thor. Whereas Beyond Oasis
on the Mega
makes way
Drive,
more sense.
but I played the Saturn one. It passed me by on the Mega Drive, but I played the Saturn. Was it Story of Thor 2?
It's a prequel, isn't it? To the first
and that
one.
because it was like discovering the Mega Drive one later, being confused, but also appropriate when it was a prequel. Yeah. Great
if
game.
I can jump in here quickly, I wanna share something because that was in 2022, I think. I met with Ayano Koshiro, so the sister of Yuzo Koshiro, who is a big game designer, pixel artist, and so on. And Story of Thor is basically her game. That is the game she always wanted to make. She explained that's what she put in most of herself, and that's also the one she is probably still the most proud of today. So I asked her, so if I were to play only one game you ever made, which one would you suggest? And that's the one she said that's what we should play.
Oh,
Cool.
man. If you ever speak to her again, you can tell her that it is one of my all-time favorite video games. I love it to pieces. I love the visuals. I love the music. I love the combat, and I love how it's got like this comedy to it as well. When you're fighting the bad guys, and then they attack you, and then when you're beating them, they try and sort of scarper away on when they're trying to get up and things, and it's I love it. I really do. I really wish that it was like more easily available. I mean, it's on Switch Online, but I would love like a proper HD version of it to play with like some tarted up visuals as well. Because it is beautiful anyway, but I would love to play a proper like full HD version of it.
Yeah, sadly she really left game development by now.
But yeah, I adore that game. So next up, I've gone for another kind of heart pick again, because this is another game I played a lot with my dad, and that's Erzhog's Zwei, which is obviously from Technosoft. It sort of has a bit of Thunder Force with it, but kind of real-time strategy as well. Never played a real-time strategy before this one either. This was my introduction to it, and then I later went back and played Dune. But yeah, this is another one that me and my dad played so many hours together on this one. I adored it. Great soundtrack. I think you can get a version on Switch, can't you, of this?
Yeah, it's one of the
yeah.
So, and then I'm pretty sure I've seen
a beautiful version by M2 with some really helpful tutorials.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be good, because I always struggled with it. I butted my head against that hard.
Yeah. When I was, because my obviously playing it with my dad, he was sort of able to get his head around it more and read more of the instruction manual than I ever would. Because so then we got heads around it and we really enjoyed it. My dad bought it because it was German. Obviously, his mum was German, and we were then asking people where the first game was.
It's Erzhog.
Yeah. So we were asking the people at the shop. We were like, "Oh, you got the first one of these?" And they were like, "That is the only one of those." And we were like, "No, but this is the sequel." And they were like, "What do you mean it's a sequel?" And we were like, "It was called Erzhog 2." And they were just looking at us like we were idiots. And we were like, "Oh my god." I didn't know, you know. My dad didn't know either.
No,
he was
of course
not clued into games, and I was a kid. And we both knew German, so we were just like, "Oh, why is there not a first one of these? Why is it called that?" And I still to this day do not know why it's called Erzhog's Zwei.
No idea.
I think there's a first one on a Japanese home computer, as far as I know.
Oh.
That makes a lot
That's
of sense.
interesting. Yeah.
Because I mean
You were right,
that is
Chris. You were right.
that is where Texas come from. They were a home computer developer before they went to the Mega Drive.
The X68000, yeah.
Yep,
See,
MSX2.
now I need to go back in time.
All right, so
rub
I've
it
got it
into their
here.
faces.
The first one came out in 1988 for MSX2, PC-88, and Sharp X1.
Okay.
And it's only called Herzog. That's it.
Oh man. Okay, so next up I'm going to go Gunstar Heroes. We've spoken about it briefly, but that game to me pushes the Mega Drive like no other game for me. Like it's
Pushes
so
it,
fast.
also makes it look easy too.
Yeah.
What's
Like,
incredible about
there's
that
no
game.
slowdown, and it's just so much stuff going on screen at once, but it's going so fast as well.
Yeah.
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 How is it doing this? Why is it not on fire? My Mega
That
Drive
was a
should be
catchphrase from
melting.
Alien Soldier, wasn't it? X68000 heart on fire. That's why. Yeah.
But yeah, it's for me. I obviously I loved the Contra series prior, and I really liked the Turrican series as well. That's the same sort of run and gun gameplay. But this is the one. You know, I've probably paid for this game 8 or 9 times on different platforms over the years.
Yeah, I think I
It's
own
like,
it a few times.
yeah, it's like wherever it is, I will buy a copy. It's like, doesn't matter if I've got it on anything else, I'm buying another copy of this game. Because yeah, it is absolutely timeless, and it looks amazing to this day. It sounds amazing to this day, and it plays so good. Like you wouldn't know that this game is over 30 years old.
No.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, I would argue this is a very early character action game.
Yeah.
Something like Red Devil May Cry and so on. I think there's lots of
definitely.
similarities.
Yeah, because you do have the combos with regard, because you can melee as well as shoot, can't you? So it is very much like that. Yeah. I agree. I've never thought about it like that, but yeah, now you mention it, yeah. Yeah, but Gunstar Heroes, absolutely fantastic. And my last one, which I'm going to go for, which is a bit, it's kind of similar, but it's also something that I don't think many people talk about, and that's Vector Man. I think it's a fantastic. Yeah, I think it's absolutely fantastic because I really like was it Target Earth as well, which is and Cybernator, those sorts of games. But this is like a really fast version of that. You know, it's it's a platform shooter, but it does it so well. And those graphics, you know, like the balls of the character, they animate so brilliantly as well when you're moving. It's a fantastic game. The music is okay. It doesn't sound amazing, but it does look and play really well. And if they could just put a new soundtrack on it, I think it would be absolutely superb. But I do really like it.
Yeah,
Anyone else have any thoughts on Vector Man? Or?
I think I only played it on one of the Mega Drive compilations. I don't think I spent a lot of time with it.
I think my brother hired it from the video shop, and I played it. But again, me being a wanker that I am, I was like, "Oh, it doesn't feel very Japanese; it feels very American." And I kind of played it a bit, and I'm like, "Yeah, no." And I had a real
It is American, though. Yeah.
I know, yeah, but I had a real cockeyed view on sort of like I prefer the Japanese stuff. It was a me thing, not it's not a problem of the game. I do recognize it is, you know, technically fantastic, and I just never gave it time.
That is my only Western game on my list, actually, other than Lotus Challenge, which I also put on there, which I really love. But I didn't go for that in my final 5. But one thing I want to say, and I kind of wish John was here for me to say this as well, because I want to offend and please as many Mega Drive owners as possible. But at the same time, I want to offend and please Super Nintendo owners at the same time. So this is my statement on this, right? The Sega Mega Drive, well, actually, let's do it the other way around. The Super Nintendo has the highest highs of the 16-bit generation, right? But the Mega Drive has the much better library of games than the Super Nintendo.
I think that's probably fair.
So I would say like the absolute pinnacle on the Super Nintendo, I think, is absolutely fantastic. It's, some absolute timeless stuff on there. But overall, that Mega Drive library absolutely wipes the floor with the Super Nintendo library. It's just so full of games, and in so many different genres as well.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And the other thing as well, though, and that's with a bias of being from the UK, where we got a lot more Mega Drive games, and the Super Nintendo, we missed out on so many over here.
Yeah, I mean, we got all the RPGs, we got the Shining Forces, and we got the Fantasy Stars,
Exactly,
and
yeah.
hardly anything came from on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, we got, what was it, Mystic Quest and Secret of Mana, and that was pretty much it.
Bit of Breath of Fire as well.
I guess, but Breath of Fire, yeah. But it wasn't like the Mega Drive where we got pretty much everything. There was not a lot we didn't get, really. Yeah, there's some shooters and things in Japan, but...
Although the quality, I would argue that Phantasy Star 4 is the same level of quality as something like Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy 5 and 6.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. People. Yeah, no, it shouldn't, because Phantasy Star 4 is phenomenal. Right, it's such a well-written game. The combat system is so intricate, but
it feels very modern, I think.
Yeah,
Sorry,
that's what I was going to say.
Sorry,
it is modern in feel, but it does feel very modern. Whereas I think Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy 6, they are games of that time. Even though they're fantastic, they are games of the 16-bit era. But I think you could play Phantasy Star 4 today and go, oh, actually, these systems and everything, these are more updated
I think
than they are.
So what I meant by modern especially is it doesn't have any necessary grind like the ones before had. I mean, Phantasy Star 2 is wonderful, but you have to grind a lot to get anywhere. And if you play 4, you really get through the game on a clippy pace without having to make long grinding stops. And I think in that regard, they are very much like Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy 6.
Oh, and you see your party on the world map walking behind you. Which is,
and of course, those cutscenes, right? That's amazing.
Oh, and the cutscenes, yeah. Oh man, so beautiful.
Nothing else has that.
Yeah, but I will say, Super Mario World is head and shoulders above my favorite Mega Drive platformers for me, and Super Metroid is above anything of its sort as well.
Mm-hmm. And as much as I like Landstalker and Ragnarsenti, Zelda is better.
It is.
Yeah, of course. It is. Yeah. Now, being the shoot 'em up head, I'm like, all the other platforms, genres of games, yes, I agree. I don't think it's got anything near as good as the Thunder Force 3 and 4s on the Super Nintendo.
No, that's what I mean by the Mega Drive having a better library, because it just has much more in terms of genres.
But I agree what you said, that Super Mario World is just gaming perfected, isn't it?
Yeah, it's that and Tetris are the only two games I will ever say I think they are perfect.
I agree with
I'd really like to share another little anecdote I heard a couple of years ago. When I met the M2 folks for the first time, we talked about Mega Drive, Super Nintendo stuff and so on. And one of them told this story. Back in the day, he was a hardcore Mega Drive fan, and he was really rejoicing in the fact that all these Super Nintendo shooters were just technically so much worse. Yeah. Until, of course, Super Lester came along, and that really ticked him off. Until he bought it really and loved it.
Yeah. That and what was the game we were talking about the other week, Jake? I've forgotten the name of it already.
Which? Oh, the shoot 'em up ones. The one you mentioned. Oh, crikey! Hang on. Metal Max 2? No. Sky Blazer? No.
Nope.
Yeah.
No.
Biometal.
No. Biometal. Okay. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Biometal for me. That runs really well in terms of a Super Nintendo shooter or Super Famicom shooter. It's really cool.
Also, of course, Parodius is nice.
Yeah, Parodius is nice. Yeah.
And which, of course, I never
understand why
R-Type 3 is really good as well. Like R-Type 3 is really good.
So let me make this very smart pivot now with Parodius, because right now a guy is making a homebrew port of Parodius for the Mega Drive.
Yes.
Which of course leads us now to Jake's big subject again, the
homebrew
current homebrew scene.
Yeah, or aftermarket releases, as I think
Yeah.
they've been coined as well. Yeah, the homebrew scene has, I think it's really exploded in the last 5 years on the Mega Drive and other
Mhm.
consoles. Before that, it was kind of like oh, that's very nice, dear. You carry on with your little game. But it's really gained traction and getting games properly published. Like Mega Cat are going hell for leather and putting lots of releases out on the Mega Drive. I think
Yeah,
the
also
first home
Columbus Circle.
Yes, Columbus Circle in Japan are doing a lot for that. The first one I really saw as a homebrew product that I thought this is really good was Tanglewood by Matt Phillips,
Yeah.
Mhm.
our friend. I saw it at one of the shows in the UK, had a play of it, and it felt just like the Disney style Mega Drive games. We got chatting, we're into the same kind of music and stuff. And I was like, look, dude, if you want some help doing the boxes and packaging and all that kind of stuff, let me know, because I would love to do the packaging for a Mega Drive game. That would be like my total ambition. So we worked together on that, and it was so good to see his story of how he's developed it on original hardware as well, not just sort of on a PC and then backported it, whatever. He used proper from the day dev kits. Probably made his whole task a lot harder, he will absolutely admit. But yeah, it's really great to see that progress. Then we had the likes of Pia Solar, which gained so much attention with its Kickstarter and funding and backing, and that I've played it a bit, but again, it's not my kind of game, that RPG style of stuff. So I was like, yeah, this is okay. A lot of people said it was repetitive or not as polished maybe as it could be in the story and whatever, but I couldn't attest to that because I didn't play it too well. And then we had the likes of Paprium, which was an absolute episode in itself of a lot of people never receiving their goods, delays, sort of sold stories and all kinds of things from the crew there, and that put quite a bad taste in everyone's mouth for homebrew and backing things on Kickstarters. Fortunately, the industry, the homebrew industry, continued undeterred by one person's bad actions. The Paprium game itself, I did get mine. It is amazing. It's something else altogether, but it does have the benefit of using the extra chip and technology, etc., to fire through all the content that pushes to the Mega Drive. Other games include like ZPF, Mega Cat releasing a lot of games as publishers. ZPF was great, but for me it was a very Euro shooter thing. Felt like a
I
movie game
wasn't
in a way.
such a big fan.
Same. But the one that Thomas and I absolutely rave over, and probably most people do, is Eartheon. That is possibly the best Mega Drive shooter going.
Yes, it is
Yeah.
unbelievably great.
I can remember we played this, Thomas, and we were looking at each other going,
Yep.
Is this the best Mega Drive? This is the best Mega Drive game, isn't it, Thomas? Let's go and have a beer and talk about this. We were so buzzing and excited when we got hands on with it. It was so cool. Yeah, and that aftermarket, it's proof that people are interested in still playing these old games on original hardware or collecting it. There's a lot of us who'll buy the game, put it on the shelf, and maybe play it once or twice, and it won't get played again. But there's definite calls for it, and there are people who are interested in learning how to push these systems further than they've ever been pushed before. Eartheon's
I
proof
mean,
of that.
it showed me one thing, the whole homebrew scene, because the Mega Drive is a very powerful system, and it was only held back in the day by the small ROM sizes.
Yes, the
If you
cost of
can,
ROM. Yeah.
if you can get around these, you can do such amazing things. I mean, Eartheon is amazing. And did you guys play the Rise? The first
Yes.
one, the
Yeah.
port?
Yeah.
That is mind blowing.
Yeah. Did you follow his blog posts as he built the cabinet and everything? Hidekade.
No, I didn't.
He had a Japanese blog that was going for quite a while and showing progress in the game, and it was getting better and better. And he built these two sort of bar top cabinets and everything. They looked fantastic. And then the blog went dark. Nothing got posted. And that's obviously when Sega or M2 started working with him to release it on the Mini. But yeah, it was interesting to follow that.
Also, a great game is, of course, Xenocrisis from Bitmap Bureau.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love that.
That's a cool.
I'm still
that's
working
a cool
on it.
twin stick shooter. That
Also, it looks so good.
yeah.
Also, one I really like is Mad Stalker.
Oh, I've not really played that much.
Oh, it's fantastic. Do you have it?
Yes, I do.
Give it a go. It's such a good game. It's a lot like something like the Ninja Warriors, only with mechs.
Oh, sweet. Yes. I mean, I bought it because when I was in Japan, I bought like a handful of stuff, for the aftermarket releases,
Yeah.
and pretty much half of them were sat on the shelf, and I've not got around to playing them.
So let's talk the music alone. That's Keiichi Onao, and that man's also he's a god of chiptunes.
Yeah, awesome.
Also, he can drink like a madman. It's amazing. I mean, if you guys know Audi Sawley, he really drank Audi onto the table.
Oosh. I haven't been drinking with Audi. That needs to be rectified.
Yep, certainly does. I hope we can do that in Japan this year.
We'll give it a go. Definitely give that a go.
Yeah, I do think it's really great how the Mega Drive still has these games coming, and they are, like you say, with Earthyon, pushing it way beyond where you would have thought it could go. And yet, it's like this is the when John was saying, we were talking then about how Tectoy is still doing the Mega Drive in Brazil, and it's got HDMI out and things like that. And I would love for just the Mega Drive to just be back in the shops, and you can buy games readily, in shops and things. Because I don't understand why companies don't do that. I know it costs money, but I'm surely the manufacturing costs of a Mega Drive can't be much now. Like the parts must be dirt.
Evercade is pretty much scratching that itch for me.
It is scratching that itch for me now, but I really would love to just have that library still, rather than having to buy like a new library. It'd be,
I mean, it's just that thing of like when I went into a physical shop.
Yeah.
And they had like 20 different titles. I was browsing on a shelf and then picking up a nice game with a booklet in a clamshell box for 20 quid and walking away. It was great. It's at least doing that bit.
Yeah, true. Cool. Have we got anything else we want to say about Mega Drive before we wrap up? Because we have been going close to 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff we haven't touched upon yet, but
I got about another hour's worth here.
I think much like the Mega Drive, we should probably do a Mega Drive 2 podcast, not about the Mega Drive 2. Well, I mean, we could, but it wouldn't be that long. But we could do a second Mega Drive podcast. We did a second Amiga podcast because I didn't cover anywhere near as much as I wanted to on that one in the first episode. There is still stuff that I thought I wouldn't have that much to contribute because I loved the Mega Drive, but I wasn't, I didn't think I would have that much, but I was quite pleased with how much I could contribute. But yeah, I think I could talk to you guys even longer about the Mega Drive. So I think we could probably do that and then squeeze in the CD and 32X properly into that one as well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Good plan. I like that.
And talk about stuff like the Sega Neptune failed project, which is still living on in our hearts, shall we say?
We can talk about the Menacer.
What was that ring that came out? You could stand in.
The activator.
The activator. Yeah, we haven't really spoken about stuff like that. The Menacer. There's lots to cover still with Mega Drive, and if we could get John again, it would be really good.
Also, I think we should talk a bit about the Mega Drive sound.
Yes,
we could have a whole one on that.
I was hoping to get more with the variations, because I only became aware because I only had the Mark 1. I never had a Mega Drive 2. So I only ever had the original and I didn't realize that the sound got progressively different with the different variations of the hardware.
Again, that's why I love M2 so much. If you buy the Mega Drive Mini 2, I think the 1 as well, you can even change the sound output of the games.
Yeah,
if you want
can in the Sega, in the games they released on Switch and 3DS, can't you as well?
True,
so you can go in and change those.
Oh, the 3DS versions, we could talk about them. They are incredible.
Yep,
they are so great. They
Shinobi
are
3 on that
is play. Yeah. Shinobi 3, Streets Rage 2, and Sonic 2. I know Sonic 1 as well, because they put the spin into it from Sonic 2, and it just makes Sonic 1 feel even more fresh. It's so good.
Yeah, M2 are just the best madmen in the world. I love them.
Yeah, I love them so much. I love what they do over at Digital. Is it Digital Crips?
Yeah, I think so.
The company in the States, you mean?
They did the other
in the States.
compilations.
I love what they do, but M2's work is the stuff that they're like the Criterion collection of game devs.
Yeah, I think Digital Eclipse does wonderful. I call them digital expos. What's the word? Getting late here. Expositions, right?
Yes.
Yeah. With all the information and the background material, the videos and everything is wonderful, but gameplay-wise, M2 comes up on top.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, I have to share one last M2 story, by the way. That's also pretty cool. When I saw them in 2024, I think, Hori asked me to bring him a copy of Gauntlet 4 from Europe because he doesn't have that in his archive yet.
Oh,
So
really?
so I searched around until I found a really good quality copy to get to him, and now it's in their shelves at the Office Nintendo Die.
Oh, ace. Make sure you get that story about Gauntlet 4 out to people.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a great read. It's a really good read.
Actually, it is out pretty much. I used quite a bit of it in the Retro Gamer issue a couple of months ago. So that is out in English. Not the whole thing, but as I said, I'll send you the whole document.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Chris, if we could get it attached to like the footnotes or the notes for the show, that'd be ace.
You know what, I'll do that right away, I think.
Excellent. So thank you all for joining me on this one. And like I say, we'll do a follow-up episode, hopefully not too long after this one. But just look forward to that. You guys may not be interested in this one, but I'm going to be doing an episode with Ashley Day in April, and I'm trying to get 2 more people to rank the Super Mario 3D games, which
it's quite specific.
Yeah, well, I've been playing a lot of them recently, and I'm like, I have thoughts, and I want to put those thoughts out there. And I spoke to Ash
Brave
about
man.
it. He's up for it. So, yeah. But I know I'm really going to piss off a lot of people with some of my thoughts on a couple of the games, but probably piss some of them off for really liking one of the games. So we shall see. But yes, thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for joining me, guys. And Thomas especially, because I know it's very late where you are compared to us.
That's good. It's only 1 hour difference.
Yeah. But we are now midnight for you, aren't we? So
Yep, we are.
Excellent. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.